Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. It has been a wild card weekend. I believe, I would say we got our first upset. And some people would call it the second upset. Because a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people, but I think some people actually thought the Los Angeles Chargers were going to beat, thought they were going to beat the Houston Texans, only to get mauled by that defense. And then, of course, and this is the game we're going to start with, this Washington Commanders Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. I got some very bold statements to make about this game. I mean, we're just going to have to acknowledge the truth about Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders. We're just going to have to do it. I'm a little bit discombobulated, so you're going to have to excuse me. I got to send my son a message. Hold a second. Let's see. Well, yeah, we're going to get to discussing these games, but I want to start with this Washington Commanders game. Hold on just a second. So let me get a few greetings in. What's going on, Spoony Dog? What's going on, Blue Star? What's going on, Alex, Jared, Brandy? What's going on, Kevin Howard? What is going on? Let me start this off with a super chat. Appreciate you, Alex, supporting the channel. Alex said, I don't want to hear love is better than Prescott. He threw 3 picks today, and despite his defense holding up, he couldn't deliver. Yet Dak scored 32. Alice, you know what's crazy? I was thinking the same thing when I watched this game today. But the issue is, it's kind of like I've been telling people about the Green Bay game. It was a bad matchup for the Cowboys. It was a very bad matchup for the Cowboys. They attacked a weakness that we had. They attacked a weakness that we couldn't run the ball and we couldn't stop the run. And we only had one wide receiver. And we were not as good as we thought we were, or maybe the team thought they were too good, and they were going to roll up in Dallas, business as usual, knock off Green Bay and go to the divisional round. And the Green Bay Packers, it's strange, isn't it? It's strange, isn't it, Alex? The Green Bay Packers didn't look like they looked against the Cowboys. They didn't look like they looked against the Cowboys. They didn't. They came in, and the Eagles gave them every opportunity. The Eagles gave Green Bay every opportunity to win. They just didn't take advantage of it. Hold on just. And so had every opportunity to win. Every opportunity to win. They blew it. And we're going to look at that game. We'll go backwards, as a matter of fact. But I want to go to the first game. I want to go to the last game. And I'm going to tell you something that happened in this Washington Commanders game I was actually happy about. There was a pass interference that was missed. There was a pass interference that was missed. And the last thing I wanted to happen was, I'm like, please don't let that be how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win the game. I wanted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win that game head up. And so, hey, the football god spoke. They wound up fumbling the ball. The Washington Commanders, they wound up scoring. Tampa Bay scored. They tie it up. They tie it up 20-20. I'm going to tell y'all something. I've been saying it. Dan Quinn is the coach of the year. Dan Quinn's the coach of the year. And Jerry Jones ought to be sick right now. Do y'all realize the Washington Commanders won a game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with ex-players from the Dallas Cowboys? We do know that, right? They used ex-Dallas Cowboy players, and not just ex-Dallas Cowboy players. They used a player that, just like Aaron Jones, that Jerry Jones refused to get for Mike McCarthy, they're using Bobby Wagner. Thanks. They're using Bobby Wagner. They're using Bobby Wagner only for Bobby Wagner. They're using Bobby Wagner only for Bobby Wagner to be a major contributor to what they're doing right now. He's a major contributor to what they're doing right now. Bobby Wagner is wrecking shop for the Washington Commanders. And Jerry Jones last year, I'm telling y'all, Bobby Wagner would have changed life in Dallas. He would have. Bobby Wagner would have made a huge impact for this team. And Jerry Jones refused to get Bobby Wagner. Let me show y'all today how crazy Bobby Wagner was. The very player. And I'm telling y'all, yeah, I do believe that Dan Quinn basically sabotaged the Dallas Cowboys and said enough is enough. Jerry won't get players. Jerry won't play in free agency. Jerry won't get the players that we want. So I'm out of here. I'm going to throw this game, and I'm not going to throw it as in just totally give up on it, but I'm going to just change this defense up totally. So if we win, we win. If we don't, we don't. But I'm out of here. I'm going to take this Washington job. Ben Johnson has turned it down. I want it. I want the job. I want you to look at Bobby Wagner today. Look at this. This is Bobby Wagner. He only got 5 solo tackles and 3 assists. Oh, he only got half a sack. That's all he got. That's all he got. I mean, basically 8 tackles and half a sack. That's all he got. Bobby Wagner was a wrecking force in this game. Old man Bobby Wagner. Yeah. Wrecking force in this game. Dan Quinn's coach of the year. It's not even close to me. Dan Quinn has a rookie quarterback. And he's won one playoff game. And I'm telling you this. I am not going to be surprised. I'm not going to go as far as saying that the Washington Commanders are going to beat the Detroit Lions. I'm not ready to go there. But I'll tell you this. I believe the Washington Commanders are going to give the Detroit Lions everything they can handle. They're going to give them everything they can handle. They have a very good team. And I'm telling you, this kid, Jaden Daniels, man, he's dangerous. This dude is absolutely dangerous. And hey, NFC, get ready. This dude to me don't even have the weapons that he's going to have next year. Because I'm sure they're going to get him some more weapons. This dude ain't even loaded yet. This team isn't even loaded. Washington is going to go in this draft next year. I promise you. The Washington Commanders are going to go in this draft this year, and they're going to get a running back. This draft is loaded with running backs. We're just drunk with Ashton Genty. We think Ashton Genty for the Dallas Cowboys is the savior. I don't think he's the savior. I think he's going to be a great running back. It all depends on the system that he gets in. But I do think we need to understand something. There are other running backs in this draft that teams get these running backs, they're going to be fine. The Amarion Hamptons of the world. You put them on a team like the Washington Commanders, he's going to be better than fine. Man, these Commanders, I can't help it, but I am just impressed with Dan Quinn. And I do believe Jerry Jones was trying to keep Dan Quinn around. I believe Jerry Jones was trying to keep Dan Quinn around because I think Jerry Jones actually wanted Dan Quinn to take this team over. I think that's why he kept keeping Dan Quinn around. He was hoping to give the team to Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn said, I can't wait because Jerry won't do what I want to do as a coach. Dan Quinn, I'm telling you, Dan Quinn, we may be mad at Dan Quinn for throwing that game against the Lions. But Dan Quinn was mad at Jerry Jones also because Jerry Jones wouldn't get Bobby Wagner. Jerry Jones wouldn't play in free agency. He wouldn't do things that you need to do to win. Well, have y'all noticed? Dan Quinn played in free agency. Dan Quinn played the trade game. Now he's into the divisional round. I'm tired of Stephen Jones talking about the Super Bowl isn't won in free agency. But I can tell you this, it'll get you closer. It will get you closer in free agency. Snoop Dogg again, what's going on? Blue Star, what's going on? Alex again, appreciate the super chat. Jared, what's going on? Brandy, what's going on? Kevin, welcome to the crib. Danny in the crib, what's going on? Kevin Howard again in the crib. Rick Romero in the crib. Let me see what else. Marlon Brando, what's going on? Revelation, what's going on? Ron, in the crib, what's going on? Let me go back up here and read some of your comments, and I'm gonna get back to this Washington game, then we're gonna go to the next. Blue Star, let's see what you got here. He said, man, Jalen Hurts ain't even like that. Oh, but I guaranteed you if they played Dallas, they would have blown us out. And the game would have been over before halftime. Man, the only game I got right was the Ravens, shaking my head. I've gotten, well, Blue Star, I do, like I said, I do mine a little bit different. I do the head and the heart. And so far on the head and the heart, I've been, I was right on the heart with the Texans. I was right on the heart. I was right on the head with Baltimore. It's just too much evidence that Baltimore was going to beat Pittsburgh. I was right on the head with the Buffalo Bills. In actuality, my Ravens score was 31-17 with the head. I called the head based on the facts. The heart is my opinion or the upset or my hope. So with the Texans, I figured it would be 2017, but I never figured that they were going to have 4 turnovers with the Chargers, so that totally flipped that game. But with the Ravens, with my head based on the facts, I said 31-17. It turned out to be 28-14. I was off by 3 on those. For the Bills versus the Denver Broncos, I had it at 31-20, thinking with my head based on the facts. I think I got pretty close on the score for the Buffalo Bills, but I didn't anticipate that doggone defense for the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I got that right on the head with Buffalo. Buffalo scored 31 points. I gave Buffalo 31 points. The Denver Broncos scored 7. I had them scoring 20. I didn't know they would be smothered. I didn't know they would be smothered by the Buffalo Bills defense. And look at this one, man. And let me show y'all, in case y'all might not, I want to make sure y'all know I'm telling you the truth. I mean, I'm not even proclaiming to be Nostradamus or anybody. I mean, I'm just kind of using some facts and just kind of basing this off of just using some facts and just kind of giving my opinion on what I think had happened. Let me see if I got this pulled up here. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. See if I can pull it onto the screen. I have an app that I take notes with. It's called, on my iPad, it's called Notability. All right, hold on a second. Sometimes it's a little hard to drag onto the screen, but I'm going to see if I can get it over here. All right, here we go. This is what I used yesterday. See if you can see this. So this is what I used yesterday. It was heart versus head. And when you look at this, again, the Bills, 31 points. I had the Green Bay game was the only game I was 100% sure that the team, that the Philadelphia Eagles was going to beat the Green Bay Packers. I just didn't think in no universe the Green Bay Packers were good enough to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And the crazy thing is Jordan Love has basically gotten paid from the Green Bay Packers by beating the Dallas Cowboys, by winning a playoff game and beating the Dallas Cowboys, because he'd only played a year and became the highest paid quarterback in the league for a moment. But it's kind of funny. My Green Bay Philadelphia game, you can see my score right there, 24-10. The score was 22-10. I'm not saying I'm Nostradamus. I'm just kind of using the facts of what I've seen. And then I want you to notice what I put against the Washington game and the Tampa Bay game. I said, notice, toss-up. Toss-up. I put it as a toss-up. My head said that if Tampa Bay did what they were supposed to do, the score was going to be 34-27. But with my heart, I said, because of how Washington has played, and if they could keep the game close, notice what I got the score as. I got the score as 27-17. The score wound up being 23-20. So tomorrow, my guess, as far as my head goes, I'm saying that Minnesota in my head should beat the Los Angeles Rams 28-10. But if Sean McVay comes out here to play and he puts together a game plan, I am not going to be surprised if this is some type of shootout and the Minnesota Vikings pull it out 34-31. But we're going to see. Sean McVay is a pretty good play caller. So that's kind of where I was, Blue Star, on all of this. And I'm not going to say I was right, but I was pretty close, just kind of based on what I've seen from all these teams this year and the stats. Because, see, the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles, we have to understand something about them. So Jalen Hurts, you could tell today, Jalen Hurts has been off for 3 weeks. It's dangerous taking that much time off before these playoff games, because sometimes you get knocked off. Sometimes these guys on these bye weeks, man, they get knocked off trying to rest up and all of these things. It's a toss-up sometimes. It really is. It's a toss-up, trying to wait it out. But, man, when you think about what these guys did today, I mean, the Washington Commanders, look at Jaden Daniels. This is insanity. Jaden Daniels was 24-35, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns, 68.6 completion percentage, 110.2 rating, and a 7.7 yards per attempt. And this is the crazy part. Stu's 13 for 36. Looked pretty good today. But I will say this. These numbers right here, they're not enough for the Detroit Lions. Dan Quinn is going to have to fix his running game. This is not enough for the Detroit Lions. If you're going to beat the Detroit Lions, you're going to have to be able to run the ball. And I'm not talking about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was the leading rusher on the team today. This is why I'm telling you, we're watching the Washington Commanders, y'all. We're watching them with really no premier back. What in the world is this team going to look like with a premier back? Dallas, we better get ready. We better get us a running game. We better get us a running game, because I'm telling you, the NFC, y'all, about to get tough. The NFC is about to be tough, y'all. Show enough tough. Jared Daniels is next up, bro. He's for real. Now, watch this, though. Let's keep watching them, Jared. Let's keep watching them. You know why I say keep watching them? Dak Prescott did this. Yep, Dak Prescott did this. Dak Prescott did this same thing, went 13-3. Only issue is Aaron Rodgers at the top peak of his powers, and he beat the Dallas Cowboys in the last minute of the game. You have to understand, Jaden Daniels was not going up against peak Aaron Rodgers. Jaden Daniels is actually going up against the Baker Mayfield. And I'm not knocking Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield played his butt off. And the fumble that Baker Mayfield, the fumble on Baker Mayfield, it wasn't actually on Baker Mayfield per se. What wound up happening to Baker Mayfield, the center snapped the ball before he was supposed to snap it. And it threw the timing of the play totally off. And so by the time Baker Mayfield turned around to hand the ball off, got knocked out of his hand. So, and Jaden Daniels, I'm sorry, he was spectacular. I'm not even telling you, man, this dude was spectacular. Man, and this dude, McLaurin, he was only 7 for 89, but let me tell you something. Some of the catches this dude made, wow. All I can say is wow. Man, I'm telling you, NFC, Jerry Jones, you got a new problem in town. It's Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn. There is a new problem in town for the NFC. The NFC East is back. Some of us may not remember, but the NFC East, it used to always be tough. All 4 of the teams in the NFC East were ultra competitive. Ultra competitive. They would literally beat each other up. They would literally beat each other up going to the playoffs. All those teams were that good at once upon a time. And it looks like we're now in 3 of the 4 teams. 3 of the 4 teams, they're going to be tough. Dallas, the Commanders, and the Eagles, it is going to be tough between those 3. And now we got 3 quarterbacks in the NFC. Dak Prescott used to reign supreme in the NFC. Dak Prescott is still presently the best quarterback in the NFC East. But he does not have the best team in the NFC East, and that's a very big deal. He doesn't have the best team. So there's going to be some serious competition in the NFC. Jerry said, I believe Baker Mayfield did choke too, help the Commander. I don't think he choked. The timing of the play was bad. But I'll say this though, Jared, the way it happened, I wasn't disappointed because they cheated the Commanders. That was supposed to be a pass interference. So when the fumble came, I wasn't tripping. I really wasn't tripping on that. And when you think about Baker Mayfield, I'm not tripping on Baker Mayfield either, because when Baker Mayfield hit the bench, the score was 20-20. So your defense cannot get a stop. I'm telling y'all, watch what I tell you. They're going to be calling for Todd Bowles' job tomorrow. They're calling for Todd Bowles' job tomorrow. The Tampa Bay fan base are about to go absolutely nuclear on Todd Bowles. They're going to blame Todd Bowles. And the reason why they're going to blame Todd Bowles is because Todd Bowles is a defensive coach. He's a defensive-minded coach. So whenever you have a defensive-minded coach, the expectation of everyone of that team is, well, the one thing that better be good is defense. And if you look at the Washington Commanders, I want y'all to just keep thinking. The Washington Commanders, they have some of these ex-Dallas Cowboy players, and they got some players. But when I look at the Washington Commanders, Dan Quinn has done something that the Cowboys didn't do. Dan Quinn does not have a lot of household names, even though Jaden Daniels has arrived. He's a household name. But when you look at his team, he doesn't have a household name. But you know what Dan Quinn did a good job of, and we're going to have to give him credit? Dan Quinn has done a fantastic job of building a team. He changed the culture. He's built a team. And they have a great mentality. Jaden Daniels, man, I'm telling you. Jaden Daniels, in his post game, when they had the players of the game, man, Jaden Daniels brought a proverbial tear to my eye. I mean, not a real one, but a proverbial one. Because he said what Dan Quinn told them. You know, stuff like they're always in the game. And as long as they're in the game, the mentality that Dan Quinn has put in this team, as long as you're in the game, you always have a chance to win. This man, I'm telling y'all, Dan Quinn is a motivator of men. He is. Dan Quinn has been to a Super Bowl. He might not have won a Super Bowl, but I'll tell you this. I'll take Dan Quinn over Mike McCarthy every day of the week. Every day of the week. And I know some of us got some hate for Dan Quinn because he threw his game. But you got to understand, Dan Quinn wanted out of Dallas. Dan Quinn also feels like that Jerry sent him shorthanded into the playoffs. Dan Quinn, see this fraternity of owners and this fraternity of coaches, you'll rarely see a coach come out and say what needs to be said about an owner. You'll rarely see it. You will rarely see it. They'll always try to, because they understand, hey, hold on, this is a fraternity. You mess around and say something bad about one of these owners, you won't play again. Everyone has that understanding. You won't play again. So sometimes these players and these coaches, they have to figure out kind of sly ways to say things that they want to say. And so I'm telling you, Dan Quinn got tired of the very things we all complain about. And now Dan Quinn is in Washington saying, Jerry, let me show you what building a team looks like. Not being top heavy, let me show you what building a team looks like. You just wait. Dan Quinn's going to put some players on that team. Kevin Howard, give me Dak over Love right now. Oh, man, that was always the case. That was always the tape. That was always the case. Rick says they got tape on Love. And you know what? I'm just being honest. I never thought Jordan Love was that good. I never thought he was that good. But the issue, I mean, you look at the playoff game last year. I mean, Jordan Love was actually talking about this. He was like, hey, man, y'all had safeties at linebacker, and we just said it's over. It's over. There was nothing y'all could do. And you couldn't stop the run. We couldn't stop the run. Jordan Love ate on play action. Jordan Love today couldn't eat off play action. Even though, hey, man, I think the players around him did a great job. I think the defense did a great job. I think his running game was there. Man, the running game was there. The running game was there. Let's finish this, watch the Commanders game, and then we're going to scoot right on over there to that game because there are awesome things in that game. And you look at this right here. I mean, you think about Baker Mayfield. I'm not mad at 15 out of 18 for 185. I'm not mad at that. Because you know why? Bucky Irving was doing Bucky Irving was doing his thing. Bucky Irving was doing his thing. I kind of wonder if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, maybe they need I'm torn. You know, they got some injuries too. They're missing a key cog. One of the wide receivers they're missing. They're missing the key cog there. Mac Millen is a good receiver. He's not quite there yet. He's not reliable. The fumble came. He was involved in the fumble. Mac Millen is the same wide receiver that Jordan Love and him go up in the end zone. Mac Millen actually catches the ball, doesn't bring it in. Jordan Lewis comes down. They roll over, and Jordan Lewis has the ball. Mac Millen isn't quite there yet. I think Mac Millen is going to be a good wide receiver. He's not quite there yet. So I don't really, you think about Baker Mayfield. I mean, he was 15 or 18. Can you ask for anything more? 83%. The running game was working. I just think for them, what wound up happening is Jaden Daniels and the Commanders were a little too potent, and the Washington's defense was really good. Now, people got to understand, Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense isn't that good. It isn't. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is not that good. And this is one of the reasons why people, I'm telling you, I guarantee y'all, get ready. They're going to be calling for Todd Bowles' job tomorrow. They're going to be calling for his job. He got beat at home, rookie quarterback, first-year coach Dan Quinn. And in the grand scheme of things, when you think about the Washington Commanders, there are not a lot of household names on there. But Dan Quinn's built a good team. They got beat. 23-20. This probably counts as an upset. Because I was like, okay, all the home teams have won, so looks like I wouldn't be surprised Tampa Bay is going to do the same thing. No, got beat. This is an upset. This is literally an upset. Absolutely crazy. Blue Star, let's see what he says here. Blue Star says, I could not believe my eyes what I was watching, man. Green Bay was just throwing picks. Man, I'm with you. Oh, man, and then the injuries. Oh, yeah, the injuries were crazy. They were crazy. Then Green Bay fumble changed the whole game around, yeah. Now, I want you to think about this. That's exactly what I was about to look up. I want you to think about the Green Bay Packers. I want you to think about how they came out against the Cowboys last year. The Green Bay Packers came out against the Cowboys last year. They came out like they were actually the home team. They came out like they knew we're better than the Cowboys. That's how they came out. But today, I noticed something, Blue Star. They didn't come out today like they thought they were the best team. The Green Bay Packers today came out to me. They came out to me like they literally thought, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team. They didn't approach the Cowboys like that. They approached the Cowboys. They had two different approaches to these games. They approached the Cowboys like, did anybody notice that last year? They approached the Cowboys like, we're better than you. They did. They approached the Dallas Cowboys like, we're better than you. And they played like, we're better than you. But when they came out today against the Philadelphia Eagles, I didn't feel that same energy. The look that was on Jordan Love's face, I didn't feel that same energy. It seemed like to me, the moment with the Philadelphia Eagles, they had a different thought process. Hey, this is not the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm telling you, to be honest with you, the Green Bay Packers should have had that confidence last year against the Cowboys. Because, watch this, I've been telling y'all this, and people are not following what I'm saying. I'm not a Philadelphia Eagle fan. I'm just telling you, we're not understanding. Some of us are not understanding what I'm telling us. So, imagine you're going up against the Dallas Cowboys. You've been watching them on tape for the last 8 games. You can watch their last 8 games. You can see kind of what's going on with them. And you notice something. Hey, hold on a second. Dallas Cowboys really only got one wide receiver. If we can stop them, Dak Prescott has no chance with anybody else. Tony Pollard is coming off an injury. And they really can't run the ball. They have safeties playing linebacker. We're better than them. Oh, and by the way, Mike McCarthy's the play caller. This is going to be taking candy from a baby. There was a reason they came out confident against the Cowboys. And this is the part we don't understand. They know, guess what? Mike McCarthy, he got fired in Green Bay. We know what he is. Mike McCarthy, y'all, I got news for you. Y'all might not realize this, but when teams come up to play you, let me tell you something. When teams play the Kansas City Chiefs, a lot of people think that when teams play the Kansas City Chiefs, the only thing they're thinking about is Patrick Mahomes. No, that's actually not what they're only thinking about. You know what they're thinking about? The coach is Andy Reid. Kansas City Chiefs coach is Andy Reid. He's one of the best play callers in the league. He's lethal now that he has Patrick Mahomes. He understands situational football. He puts his players in the best position to win. Did I mention they have Steve Spagnuolo? They have one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. Do y'all not understand that when teams come up against a team, they're not just looking at the players? They're looking at the coach. Let me tell you what teams are looking at when they play the Detroit Lions. They're not looking at Jared Goff first. They're thinking Ben Johnson first. They're thinking, doggone it, this guy's a master play caller. Aaron Glenn, hey man, this guy's been doing really good on defense with a lot of replacement players. And Dan Campbell, you know what I'm thinking playing Dan Campbell? This dude crazy. We are going to have to literally prepare ourselves for a coach who will go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 3, 4th and 4. He doesn't do what most teams do. He doesn't do what most coaches do. They do the obligatory, hey man, it's 4th and 3. Let's kick the field goal, go home. No, Dan Campbell, you got to always be on alert. You got to always be on alert. He's going to do some kind of crazy substitution. We know when you play teams, when you play coaches like these guys, Brian Broaddus was talking about this. I understand exactly what he's talking about. Mike McCarthy doesn't make a difference on the field. Somebody said, well, how can a coach make a difference on the field? He's not playing. By his mentality. His mentality is everything. How he operates is everything. How they call plays is everything. You can never let your guard down with Dan Campbell. Ben Johnson, lethal. You better have a doggone good defense to stop Ben Johnson. And I'm telling you, when the Green Bay Packers came up against the Dallas Cowboys, I know somebody's not thinking about this, but Matt LaFleur, you know what Matt LaFleur knows? He doesn't think it, he knows. Matt LaFleur knows he's better than Mike McCarthy at calling plays. It's facts. It's facts. When Matt LaFleur came up against the Dallas Cowboys, you know what he told his team? This team is fake. They're all stats. They have a great quarterback. They have a great wide receiver. They have a great defensive end. They have a great cornerback. Short of that, what else are they? What else was the Dallas Cowboys last year? Be honest. What were they? That's it. That's it. I'm thinking about their coach. Dan Quinn don't have the pieces. Dan Quinn's a good defensive coordinator. He doesn't have the pieces, and he can't stop the run. And especially with the team they have him with now. Man, Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers came in against the doggone Dallas Cowboys, and they played like they knew they could beat the Dallas Cowboys. They knew they were better than the Dallas Cowboys. I know this hurts some of our feelings. I done told y'all this stuff before. I'm not telling you nothing new. But let me show you something of how I know what I'm telling you is factual. And then I'm going to go back to some of your comments. I'm going to show you how I know what I'm saying is factual. Let me show you what you're looking at here. The Green Bay Packers scored 48 bleeping points on the Dallas Cowboys last year. You want to know how they did it? This isn't how they did it. Jordan Love isn't how they did it. You know how they did it? This is how they did it. You want to know why Mike McCarthy wanted Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones was 21 for 118, 5.6 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns. This dude was on the sideline wearing sombreros and Oakley shades on the Dallas Cowboys because they were laughing at us because they said, hey, man, there's nothing they can do to stop us. They can't stop us. And you know what Jordan Love commenced to do? He only threw the ball 21 times, completed 16 passes because he literally ate off of the play action. And we blame Dak Prescott. This defense, man, this defense last year couldn't stop a faucet by turning it off last year. They couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop running water with a faucet on it. And that's the facts, Jack. Look at Jordan Love. 16 to 21, 272, 3 touchdowns. You telling me, didn't I tell y'all this about Lamar Jackson the other day? This is what I want my quarterback doing. Please, Jerry, can you get Dak Prescott this? Can you get Dak Prescott a show-enough home run hitter? Because that's exactly what Aaron Jones was last year in that playoff game. He was home run hitting on the Dallas Cowboys. They couldn't stop him. You want to talk about make play action easy? Aaron Jones running 21 for 118, 5.6 yards a carry. That will bring you out of cover 2. Boy, that'll make you fold up cover 2 so quick it'll make your head spin. Let a running back start running for 5.6 yards a carry. 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. Hey, man, we got to come out of this cover 2. Because if we don't come out of this cover 2, Aaron Jones is going to literally run us out of our own stadium, and he did. And then if they say we're going to stop Aaron Jones, then Jordan Love said, okay, it's my turn. Play action. And I was saying this the other day. Real Fan 1 was saying, well, if you paid Dak Prescott $60 million, why would you only want him to throw 25 times? Look at this number. How did he get 272 yards? You know what a running game does for you? It opens up chunk plays down the field. Chunk plays. Because once those safeties start coming up, once one of those safeties come down, once one of those safeties commit to the run, seam routes, go routes, deep crosses, they're there. Wide open. And if you get a kid like Kevontae Turpin, all he has to do is run a shallow cross. He'll take that thing to the crib. He will take that thing to the crib. I'm showing you this. Look at Jordan Love. Isn't it amazing what he looked like when they got confidence? Matt LaFleur has confidence. Jordan Love has confidence in the game plan. They know they're better than the Dallas Cowboys. Isn't it strange how Jordan looked last year? 16 to 21, 272 yards and 3 touchdowns. Oh, he's better than Dak Prescott. Stop it. His team was better. I know this hurts people's feelings. His team was better. I don't care if he was 10-7. I don't care if the Green Bay Packers were 10-7 and the Cowboys were 12-5. No, if you're honest with yourself, the Green Bay Packers were better than the Dallas Cowboys last year. They were confident. You could see the look in Jordan Love's face, man. The game plan, he knew, we got these guys. We got them. But isn't it strange how he looked this year? This is that same Jordan Love. And you know what's strange? I think the team that Jordan Love has this year, I think it's better than the team he had last year. I think the team he had this year is better than what he had last year. But isn't it strange? I keep telling y'all the same thing. People don't believe me. You see this number right here? He threw the ball 21 times last year. He threw the ball 33 times this year. If you're telling me Jordan Love is throwing the ball 33 times in the playoffs against the Philadelphia Eagles, you know what I'm going to tell you? He probably got beat. I'm going to tell you he probably got beat because the Philadelphia Eagles have the number 1 rated defense in the NFL. And if you're throwing 33 times on the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm telling you, you probably threw a couple of picks. Unless your quarterback is surgical, and Jordan Love isn't surgical. That's not Jordan Love. He's not surgical. He ate on the Cowboys last year because also of the defense that Dan Quinn decided to run. And the defense that they had to call because they couldn't stop the run because they were deficient at linebacker. Jordan Love ate on that team. Guess what? You know why he looked different against the Philadelphia Eagles? Because he knew the Philadelphia Eagles were better and he played like it. He played like it and you could see it in his face. He played like it and you could see it in his face. And this dude was different in this game. He was different in this game. And this is why I'm telling you he looked different today. It's strange when you look at his box score, isn't it? This dude threw the ball 33 times against this doggone vaunted Philadelphia Eagle defense. That is not a recipe to win against this team. It's a recipe for disaster. He got 212 yards, but you see the difference in the touchdowns? Rather than 3 touchdowns, he's got 3 interceptions. And I'll be honest, Blue Star, you're hitting it right on the head. I think the failure in this game was him. The failure in this game was him. Because if you tell me that Josh Jacobs, and boy, some of these runs, that run that Josh Jacobs ran through all of the Philadelphia Eagle defense and his knee hit down before he got that ball across the goal line, Josh Jacobs did his thing, y'all. Josh Jacobs ran more than good enough for Jordan Love to perform. 18 for 81, 4.5 yards to carry, 1 touchdown. Now, Josh Jacobs did his thing. Jalen Hurts hasn't played for 3 weeks. This was the best opportunity that any team could have got. This is the best opportunity and the best scenario that any team could have asked for against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm telling y'all, Dan Quinn is genius. There's a reason why Dan Quinn wanted to win that game so bad against the Dallas Cowboys. You see the seed that it got him? You see the seed that it got him? He didn't want to play Philly again. He knew, hey man, we caught a genie in a bottle. We knocked Jalen Hurts out in the first quarter. That ain't happening again. The chances of that happening again are slim to none. And so the issue is Jordan Love looked different. And the thing that looked different was him. Josh Jacobs isn't too far off from what Aaron Jones did last year. He's not too far off, minus the touchdowns. But the reason why he can't get the touchdowns is because Jordan Love overthrowing, underthrowing. I mean, Jordan Love was literally playing like he was afraid. Not good enough. He wasn't good enough today. Period. Point blank in the story. Let's make sure we give the Philadelphia Eagles credit. They were good. But the thing that's crazy is that Jordan Love actually had chances, though. He just blew them. Bad throws. It's the same thing with Justin Herbert. People will be giving Justin Herbert excuses all this coming week. But Justin Herbert made bad throws. And when Justin Herbert got his team to the point of they got behind, then the Houston Texans defense really ratcheted up. And then it became more about that Houston Texans defense. But it's Justin Herbert who was making those bad throws that really allowed them to pin their ears back and beat the brakes off of them. And it's the same thing with Jordan Love. I just wonder if he's going to get the same treatment that Dak Prescott has gotten. I wonder if he's going to get the same treatment. Because I'm telling you, we talk about Dak. Oh, he got $60 million. Jordan Love, when you look at his contract, first thing we run to with Dak Prescott is his contract. I wonder, will they run to Jordan Love's contract? I wonder, will they run to the $220 million, $160 million guaranteed quarterback? I wonder, will they run to that? Because if you're going to kill Dak Prescott, then what are you going to do to Jordan Love? It's still $160 million guaranteed, no matter how you slice it. Yeah, Dak is making more because of the way Dak's contract, his previous contract, was structured. Jordan Love's previous contract was different, but Is he worth what they paid him? His average salary is $55 million. I wonder if they're going to now run to his contract. And don't worry about the fact you're saying, oh, but he's only $29 million against the cap. Don't you worry. When the Cowboys flip that switch on Dak Prescott's contract, Dak Prescott's contract is going to more resemble this. It's going to more resemble this. It'll be somewhere around the same average on the cap hit, if not less. And you can already tell, I mean, look at what they're doing. See, they're already working with Jordan Love. You want to know why they've also done it? Look at what they've already done. They've already figured in the void year, unrestricted free agent, the void. They've already figured in where they're going to kick the money. This stuff is readily available. This is why we can't work the salary cap, because it seemed like our owner, our GM. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have a GM. I wonder if they're going to start attacking Jordan Love. He looked awful today. And it wasn't just because of that great Philadelphia Eagle defense. No, he had opportunities. He was just missing them. Let me go to some more comments here. Ricky Rick says, Daniels is impressed. This is going to be an East showdown. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Jaden Daniels is crazy with it. Marlon Brando surprised. The better quarterback won every game so far. Yeah. But I'm not going to let you get away with it, Marlon Brando, because I know what you're implying. But you know why I'm not going to let you get away with it? And I'm going to stay on this game for a little bit longer. So you said the better quarterback won all this weekend. It's interesting you say that. Did the better quarterback win this weekend, or did the better teams? I'll destroy every argument you have. Did the better quarterbacks win, or did the better teams win? Marlon Brando, I like you, but I'm telling you, it's your type of rhetoric. Fans like you, your type of rhetoric is why the Dallas Cowboys, if they don't stop buying into your type of rhetoric, they're going to continue to lose. Dallas Cowboy fans, the toxic part of the fan base. We have some of the dumbest takes on our team. We have the dumbest takes. Jalen Hurts was 13 of 21 for 131 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he's loaded at wide receiver. Anybody notice today? Didn't I tell you about Goddard at tight end? But the reality is, you think about it, they scored 22 points. Jalen Hurts didn't look like a world beater today, even though the way the Eagles are built. See, you want to go to the quarterback. I'm not going to the quarterback. No. The Eagles team is better than the Packers team. Point blank in the story. Jordan Love had every opportunity to win. Jordan Love stopped himself, and then that defense stopped him. The Green Bay Packers, Blue Star is exactly right. Jordan Love has no excuse. That defense for the Green Bay Packers, y'all, that defense did everything they were supposed to do. Everything. How much longer? If you tell me that the Green Bay Packer defense held the arguably second best team in the NFC, they held them to 290 yards. They literally held Saquon Barkley all the way up until the end. Saquon Barkley, I guarantee you, Saquon Barkley will tell you these yards he got today, boy, he grinded them things out. He finally broke one at the end, and then he slid down on his knee because the game was over at that point. But with your type of rhetoric, Marlon Brando, which comes from our owner too, this same stupid rhetoric, this is why Dan Quinn, this is why Nick Sirianni, this is why those teams in the NFC East are winning and we're not. I said it in the beginning and I'm going to say it again. You know what the difference is between the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys? They have a better team. They have a better team. And the Eagles have a better team. The Dallas Cowboys, boy, we can always talk about our stars, but we got Micah Parsons. We got Dak Prescott. We got CeeDee Lamb. But do we have a team? We don't build teams. And I keep saying it. We haven't built teams since Jerry. Teams are not just the players. I said it from the beginning. When you face the Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to have to give Kellen Moore, some apologies. Kellen Moore has made a name for himself this year. When teams face the Philadelphia Eagles, they're thinking about Kellen Moore now too. They're thinking about the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator. They're even thinking about Nick Sirianni and the mentality of the team. I'm telling us, man, Brian Broaddus is explaining exactly what I've been saying. Does your coach make a difference on the field? I'm going to give Kellen more credit. He's been making a difference on the field by his play calling. He's not like he was when he was with Dallas. He was young and immature. He's not getting antsy anymore. He knows what he's got. Man, I got a running game. I want to use it. I got a good defense. Let me just make sure, hey, Jalen, don't put us in a bad situation. Don't force anything. Our defense is good enough. If it's not there, don't take a chance. Our defense can get the ball back, and we'll live to fight another day. And if you think about this game, the Green Bay Packers had every opportunity. Every opportunity. Look at the scoreboard. Eagles up 10-0. 10-0. They got to the third quarter. Eagles 16-3. This was the defining moment. They got this game to 10-16. They had every opportunity to win. This game was 10-16. What else can you ask for? You're the Green Bay Packers against the second probably best team in the NFC. And you have the opportunity to go ahead. Jordan Love fumbled the bag. He fumbled the bag. And when you think about the playoffs, that's why I'm not letting you get away with this, Marlon Brando. It's your rhetoric of why this team is like it is. Because Jerry wants the top-heavy team of just a few superstars to beat, as I said last night on a video, we're trying to make Superman, we're trying to make the Superman movie while these other teams are creating the Justice League. They're creating the Justice League. We're just trying to deal with Superman. We just want Batman and Robin. No, they're building the Justice League. Y'all remember last year what they were calling Dak and CD? Yeah, they're Batman and Robin. Who's Batman and who's Robin? What about the Justice League? Dan Quinn has built a team over there. Philadelphia Eagles have built a team over there. And I'm going to shoot back at you again because I know what you're doing. Some folks may let you get away with it, but I'm not. Your take is pure, and you're not stupid, but your take is. Because I know what your take is driven by. It's pure foolishness. And the reason why it's foolishness, it's strange to me because you said the best quarterbacks won yesterday. So you're telling me that you thought before the Houston Texans and the LA Chargers game, you thought that CJ Stroud was better than Justin Herbert. Stop it. There's not many people that'll tell you that. There are not many people that will tell you that C.J. Stroud is better than Justin Herbert. There are not many people who will tell you that. Even I'll tell you, I'll take C.J. Stroud over Justin Herbert. But I'm not going to tell you unequivocally that C.J. Stroud is better than Justin Herbert. Because C.J. Stroud isn't the reason why they got beat yesterday. I'm sorry, but that defense did a number on Justin Herbert. And a part of it was Justin Herbert did a number on himself. We've already went over this game. But Justin Herbert was 14-32. Not only was Justin Herbert 14-32, Justin Herbert did the same thing that Jordan Love did. He wet the bed. He threw 4 interceptions. One of them we won't blame on him. One may have been a great play, but a couple of those, he just threw them right to him. You know why the Houston Texans beat the Los Angeles Chargers? The Houston Texans have a better team. They flat out have a better team. Their team performance. Because anybody who watched the game, don't let this 22 out of 33 fool you. C.J. Stroud, in the grand scheme of things, watching that game, C.J. Stroud, if that defense isn't doing what it's doing, and if Justin Herbert isn't awful, they probably get beat. The Houston Texans are going to have a hard time against another team because they get very slow starts, and their defense, they can hold teams, and what they did to the Chargers, they're not going to be able to do that to every team. They're not going to turn every team over 4 times. Man, you turn a team over 4 times, you're supposed to beat them 32-12. You're supposed to beat them 32-12. You're not going to do that to every team. And I've already seen the Houston Texans play this year. Now the moment of truth is coming up for them. We'll look at the playoff seeds in a moment. But I'm not letting you get away with that. The best quarterbacks did not win. The best teams won. And in the playoffs, the best teams win. The best teams win. And this is why, as long as we think like this and this toxic fan base that we have, as long as they run their mouth and say these types of things, this is one of the reasons why this team isn't going to win. This is one of the reasons why this team isn't going to win. When we look at all these other teams, we look at the Houston Texans. Tell me what they did in free agency. They only bought in Stephon Diggs. They brought in players during free agency. They made trades at the deadline. You look at these teams. Guess what they all share in common? They all got running games. These teams that are winning, this is the stuff. See, you want to just go to the quarterbacks. No, look at these teams and how they're constructed. They all went and tried to get 2 wide receivers. They all went and got top tier tight ends or really good tight ends. They all went and got running games. They all went and put players around their quarterback. C.J. Stroud, he's lost some players to injury. But thankfully, his defense, they're bananas. They're bananas. And no one, I'm laughing at us. No one can ever say these things about our team. No one can say, nobody can tell me we got a bananas defense. We don't have no bananas defense. Our defense isn't bananas. Who can tell me our run game? Man, our run game bananas. We don't have no, but our run game isn't bananas. Now, we can talk about players. Man, our kicker is insane. Our quarterback, 2nd team All-Pro last year. CeeDee Lamb, top 3 wide receiver. Michael Parsons, top defensive end. We can say all those things, but if someone says, hey, man, what about the team, though? What's the team like? Well, we don't quite have a team yet. Hey, man, what about your coach? Everyone's divided. I want you to think about how insane we are right now. We're all making a case for a coach saying, we don't mind him staying as the head coach. We just don't want him to call plays. What? Well, what good is he? What good is he if he can't call plays? Because he hasn't proven that he can be a leader of men when he's not calling plays. We've seen what it looks like. Isn't it strange? It looked the same when he was calling plays, the same when he wasn't calling plays. No team, when they play the Dallas Cowboys, fear Mike McCarthy's play calling. They don't. They don't fear it. I think some teams this year, when we got towards the mid and the end, teams started saying, hey, man, Mike Zimmer is doing some things. Mike Zimmer is showing some looks. Mike Zimmer is doing some things that is hurting some teams. They were saying stuff like that. We don't have a team. Not letting you get away with it. You look at all these teams that won. It's strange. This is this is one, again, a stupid, dumb take. It's not the fact that Lamar Jackson is better than Russell Wilson. Lamar Jackson has a better team than Lamar Jackson has a 10 times better team than Russell Wilson. You look at Russell Wilson's stats. Man, the dishonesty is insane. So you telling me that 20 for 29, 2 touchdowns, 69% completion ratio, 121.3 rating, 9.3 yards a pass. You're telling me that's not good enough to beat a team like the Baltimore Ravens? Stop it. It's pure foolishness. It's foolishness. And somebody needs to say it. It's foolishness. Again, you want me to show you the real difference in this game? Feast your eyes on the running game that Russell Wilson had. Najee Harris, 6 for 17. Russell Wilson, 3 for 6. Jay Warren, 2 for 6. Their team literally ran the ball 29 yards. You're telling me you had 11 attempts and 29 yards, and then you go to the other side of this thing, you got the audacity to talk to me about they got a better quarterback and Derrick Henry ran for more yards than Lamar Jackson threw? Stop it. Take this stupid argument somewhere else. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's that rhetoric right there. This Dallas Cowboy team, I got news for y'all. As long as that rhetoric stays with this team will continue to be done. We don't build teams, and then we think we're going to beat teams. You're not beating teams if you're not a team. Michael Parsons said something in his last podcast. He said, I hope we build a culture and become better as a team. Well, you're going to have to play a part in that, Michael Parsons. You're going to shut your mouth. Because words divide teams. Big mouth people divide teams. People whose talk is greater than their walk divide teams in every walk of life. When you have teams, you don't have someone trying to be a cheerleader for the team and trying to assume the leadership. No, leadership is earned. You ain't earned it. You look at every one of these games, the stories are all the same. I'm sorry, C.J. Stroud didn't play great. Lamar Jackson was actually Lamar Jackson. The difference is Derrick Henry is with him now. They have a better team. And they're going to look better if they get Zay Flowers back. I got news for you. The Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. Come on, man. Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback. Sean Payton is still eating Russell Wilson's contract. The defense is there. The offense is not. The offense is not there. It is pure hogwash. The offense is not yet there for the Denver Broncos. You don't believe me? Look at Bo Nix. Bo Nix, 13 for 22, 144, 1 touchdown. You want to know where Bo Nix's biggest problem was? I'm sorry if you're the quarterback, and this is the problem that kept happening to Lamar Jackson. If you're the quarterback and you're rushing for more than the running back, your team is not ready yet. Stop it. Your team isn't ready yet. You're going to tell me that Bo Nix, the quarterback, runs 4 for 43? The running back, Jay Williams, is 7 for 29? T. Beatty or Batty, he's 2 for 8? Do you not realize that's 37 yards? And then you got to take away 2 yards. That's 35 yards. You got to give them 1 more yard. I mean, you think about this is 35 yards. They got 36 yards. They got 36 yards on 13 carries. You manufactured 36 yards on 13 carries, and the quarterback got 43 yards on 4 carries? No, sir. Someone will let you get away with it, but I won't. No. Buffalo Bills are a better team. I'm laughing that people will say, "Oh man, Josh Allen, man, ooh yeah, he back in the lead in the MVP race." Stop it. You want to know what's helping out Josh Allen? Folk are not giving the Buffalo Bills enough credit. Last year before last, Josh Allen wasn't throwing the ball 26 times. Josh Allen was throwing the ball at an alarming rate. 30 times, 35 times. I mean, Josh Allen is all over the place. Now look what they have. The running back went 23 for 120. Second running back went 9 for 44. That right there is already 166 yards. They ran for 169 yards, just the running backs. You don't think that's helping Josh Allen? Oh, I forgot. Oh, let's not even give the defense credit. The defense only shut out the Denver Broncos 31-7. I mean, that's all they did. That's all they did. They have a better team. They have a better team. And not only do they have a better team, all of these teams, you know what's the same thing they all have in common? Has anybody all noticed that these winning teams, we keep looking at the quarterback. Have we not noticed they all got running backs? All of them. They all have running backs. They all have running backs that are home run hitters. I can destroy these arguments all day long. They all have running backs that are home run hitters, scoring offensive touchdowns. Rico Dowdle had 1 offensive touchdown this season. We don't do no tush push. How does he only have 1 touchdown? We've given it to him down there. He doesn't score for some reason. We don't have the team, y'all. We don't have the team. And that has really been the story of this weekend. It's not about the best quarterbacks. No, it's about who has the best team. And next week, man, the playoff picture is exactly what we want to see. It's going to come down to the best teams. It doesn't always come down to the best quarterback play, because that's not what it came down to in most of these games. The defenses, the running games, and when you got running games, guess what? Quarterbacks eat. Quarterbacks eat. And it's the same thing that happened to the Dallas Cowboys last year. That's why they got their butt beat. The Green Bay Packers, we don't want to admit it, but they were better. They were better. Revelation, gold jacket. Yeah, Bobby, man, I'm telling you. Jerry ought to be sick for not doing this. G, did you see Genty's interview yesterday? He said he wants to get drafted by Dallas. Seems like Cowboys are the only team on his radar. It is. He wants to stay at home, man. And, I mean, Tankatron. You look at Tankatron. The Cowboys are going to get Ashton Genty. I mean, if you look at Tankatron. And I'm not against them getting Ashton Genty. I'm not. If Ashton Genty is there and you think he's all that in a bag of chips, get him. I'm not sure you can go wrong with Ashton Genty. I'm just looking at what he looked like against against Penn State. Maybe that was just one game. But when you think about Boise State's competition, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters. But, when you run for that many yards, I mean, that's still a lot of yards. But I'm just wondering, what does he look like against better competition? And even in that game, I think he still got 100 yards. I still think he got 100 yards. But I'm very interested to see if the Cowboys are going to get him. Kevin Howard said the Eagles and Commanders moved on in the playoffs. Jerry should be sick right now. And you know what's crazy? Some of those players from the Commanders were from the Cowboys. Some of those players who were making differences were from the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry ought to be sick. And this is why people keep saying Jerry, are you looking at what these teams are doing? Are you looking at what they're doing? This is why they're calling Jerry Jones to the carpet. They are. Ron says, Washington, unlike the Cowboys, will actually do something in free agency. See, this is why I don't let people get away with these arguments, Ron. Because every one of these teams, they've all done something the Cowboys haven't done. They played in free agency. They played at the trade deadline. They focused. They made it a focus of putting players around their quarterback and not going into these playoffs like the Buffalo Bills that went in years past. Put everything on the plate of one Josh Allen. He continues to fail. He has one AFC championship game. He continues to fail. Whether it's at the wild card, the wild card or the divisional, he continues to fail. Why? They're putting everything on his plate. They stopped doing it. Baltimore Ravens putting everything on Lamar Jackson's plate. They stopped doing it. Went and got him a run game. Put players around him. Got him a defense. Same thing with Josh Allen. Philadelphia Eagles. No, we've been here, done this. We're not putting everything on the plate of Jalen Hurts. No, retain these wide receivers. Get him Goddard. Get him a running game. Get him a defense. We're going to take these things off his plate. See, all of these quarterbacks have something in common. They have running backs. They have defenses. They don't only have one wide receiver. They have two in most instances. They're not doing what we're doing. They're not doing what we're doing. You look at these teams. Even the Houston Texans, they did the same thing. And DeMeco Ryans and that ownership, the GM, the ownership, they have continued to put players around C.J. Stroud. And the best thing they did for C.J. Stroud, they gave him a defense. They gave him a defense because I'm telling you, C.J. Stroud alone did not play good enough to beat a good team. He didn't play good enough. That defense withstood multiple turnovers. You typically turn the ball over in the playoffs, you lose. That defense not only withstood the turnovers, detrimental turnovers that were game-changing turnovers. The defense came back in and they got their own turnovers. Your team gets a pick six, that changes a game. That changes a game. That's a game-changing play. Your team turns the quarterback over 4 times. Is that your quarterback just blowing them out? Or is that your defense saying, hey, y'all made mistakes. Don't you worry, we got you. We got you. Don't worry about it. DeMeco Ryans. And you have to understand, this is why when you start looking at coaches, have you noticed how nasty the Houston Texans defense is? What side of the ball did DeMeco Ryans play on? What side did he play on? Defense. He's a defensive-minded coach. DeMeco Ryans expects his teams to rise to the occasion on defense. And that's why, again, Jerry Jones, you're right, he should be sick. Because all of these teams are showing Jerry Jones, Jerry, you can say anything you want to, but the way you want to win doesn't work. Let me read the super chat. Brother Rod, what's going on? Appreciate that $1.99 super sticker. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The way Jerry wants to win doesn't work. It doesn't work. Ron says, no Quinn equals no win. Yes, sir. Alex said, even though I see Washington getting better, I still think Dallas will have their number, especially when Dak and everyone else gets healthy. Oh, yeah, they're going to be contenders. There's no doubt about it. But they need to understand something. Dan Quinn has the power that whatever coach for the Cowboys doesn't have. Dan Quinn can go to his GM and say, hey, can you get me this player right here? And that GM will do it. And you know what? They are now going to have even more confidence in one Dan Quinn. I'm still questioning the Marshawn Lattimore thing. I mean, Dan going to have to make that make sense to me. I don't understand why he gave up so many picks for Marshawn Lattimore. I just wouldn't have done it. But Dan Quinn, he's won one playoff game. So he's basically 1-0 with the Washington Commanders. He has now got the trust of the GM and the ownership. And when Dan Quinn goes to them in this draft, when Dan Quinn goes to them in free agency, when Dan Quinn goes to them during the trade deadline, they're going to give him exactly what he wants. I'm telling y'all, you haven't seen nothing yet with the Washington Commanders. You haven't seen nothing yet. Dan Quinn got the dream job. New ownership. And when you get new ownership, y'all remember what happened when Jerry bought the Dallas Cowboys? All Jerry wanted to do was win. Guess what the Washington Commanders ownership want to do now? All they want to do is win. All they want to do is win. That's it. Nothing more. Mike Tomlin, head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Whoa, no, not happening. Not happening. I think, though, I will say this, though. Danny, I do believe that Mike Tomlin needs to really think about how long does he want to continue to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin just might need a new venue because something is wrong. They cannot get a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. They've made bad selections at running back since what? Le'Veon Bell? Those are the two things the Pittsburgh Steelers have not replaced. And you know what the Pittsburgh Steelers were actually known for? They had a knack for drafting wide receivers. What's happening? They haven't hit on wide receivers in a while. Their run game isn't good. They haven't hit on a quarterback. So what gives? Who's controlling who the Pittsburgh Steelers pick? I'm wondering what part does Mike Tomlin play in the Pittsburgh Steelers getting players? And Mike Tomlin, I know that the Pittsburgh Steelers have only had 3 coaches. That's just how they roll. I think it's only 3 coaches. They don't fire coaches. I just think Mike Tomlin needs to really consider if he still wants to be in Pittsburgh. He needs to change the venue. But he won't be in Dallas. He will not be in Dallas. I think Jerry, because he's so cheap, Jerry wants a head coach / play caller. He wants a head coach / play caller. And if Mike McCarthy comes back, I'm not going to be surprised if you know what? But I am going to be surprised. If I'm Mike McCarthy and I know I want to call plays, why do I have to stay in Dallas and not call plays? If there are teams who are wanting me and will let me call plays, why do I want to stay in Dallas? Because I'm going to negotiate with the team, and I'm going to do what Dan Quinn did. I'll just bring my whole staff with me. Dan Quinn can bring his staff with him. The people that came with Dan or the people that Dan want, Dan can take them. Dan can take them. So if I'm Mike, Mike can take them. If I'm Mike, why would I stay in Dallas and not call plays? I wouldn't. I could probably get more money. But I think Jerry also, he wants an offensive-minded coach. Ron said, answer me this. If Jerry the GM wasn't Jerry the owner, would he still have... Man, let me tell you something, Ron. They would have ran Jerry out of this league. Jerry wouldn't have a job again. Man, Jerry would be ran out of this league by now. Jerry would be ran out of this league, man. There's no way. There is no way. Daniel M., the Bills blew out the Broncos. You said Denver would win. Man. Nah, man. Buffalo had a better team. And I didn't say, I kind of showed this already. I had with my heart Denver 24-16. But if you remember with my head, I said the score would be 31-20. And I've explained my head thinking is me based on the facts. My heart thinking is me thinking or saying, in my opinion, or could be an upset. And I did have Denver and the Bills on upset alert. But the Bills put down the pedal to the metal and it was over. They scored 31 points, just like I said they would. With my head, based on the facts, I know the Bills are better than the Denver Broncos. But the Denver Broncos defense is so good. Even though today they got exposed. They got exposed today. It is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. So Ron says, so Washington winning makes Jerry looks worse. Oh, yeah. And I'm telling you, Ron, I think Jerry was trying to keep Dan Quinn around. I think Jerry was hoping Dan Quinn was going to last all the way through Mike McCarthy's 5th year. I could be totally wrong, but it seemed like to me, Jerry was trying to keep Dan Quinn around and make him the next coach. Kevin Howard. The playoffs are showing us if you have a good quarterback and a good defense with a running game, you can win. Hope Jerry is watching and get Dak some help. That's it. That's it. Houston Texans game didn't come down to quarterback play. Houston Texans game came down to great defensive play. You look at all of these games so far. You look at the Pittsburgh-Baltimore Raven game. The plan that Baltimore's put in place, guess what? It's working. Derrick Henry. Who would have thunk that all Lamar Jackson needed was a running game? Do y'all realize what the Baltimore Ravens did? They did this actually backwards. Lamar Jackson is such a good runner of the football. Do we not realize what the Baltimore Ravens did? They got him in defense. Check. They went and they kept switching players in and out on the outside. I mean, even Odell Beckham Jr. was up in here for a run. Didn't quite work. Check. Even though they still went in the draft, they got him Zay Flowers. They got him a tight, the Baltimore Ravens tight ends, you might as well say they're wide receivers. I'm sorry, it's not even fair. This kid, Wiley, is not a tight end. Wiley is not a tight end, y'all. Wiley is a wide receiver tight end hybrid. He can run routes. He can run like a wide receiver with the body of a smaller tight end. Wiley is a mismatch for linebackers. He's a nightmare for safeties. He can run away from linebackers. He's too big for most safeties. He's too big for most cornerbacks. Wiley is a mismatch nightmare, but that still didn't work. Who would have thunk? Lamar Jackson needs a running game as good as he runs? Duh. Who would have thought? Josh Allen needs a running game? Duh. Just because your quarterback can run doesn't mean you always want him running. I mean, it's that simple. It is that simple. Daniel M. said, I guarantee you that if Washington and Philly go to the championship game this year, this is going to force Jerry to get off his bum butt and make moves necessary to improve our roster. See, Daniel M., I've been saying this. We have a vested interest. And I hadn't even put Washington into the equation. But we have a vested interest in Detroit, Philly, now even Washington, looking at what Dan Quinn has done. And we have a vested interest in especially the Baltimore Ravens. Because they've all done it the same way. And even Josh Allen, they gave him a running back. You see what he did today? A running back for a quarterback like Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, if they have a running back that can run for more yards than them, that opens up the game for more yards for them. Because now that read option looks different. I was actually laughing at the Dallas Cowboys this year. We were running Dak Prescott on read options, and come on, man. We knew doggone well something didn't look right about Dak Prescott. Something didn't look right about Dak Prescott. We knew it didn't look right. If your quarterback is not a threat in the read option, why are you running it? What are you running it for? Because the defense is saying, well, even if you do run it, we can still catch him. We can still catch him. It is that simple. But when you got a quarterback that can run, man, let me tell you something. You give a quarterback that can run a running game, it looks so much different. It just looks so much different. It does. Beatrice Adams, what's going on? He said Detroit finna beat the brakes off of the Commanders. Hey, Beatrice, let me tell you something. I'm not going to disagree with you, but do not be surprised if the Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders game is closer than you think. This Washington Commanders team, you got to understand, the Washington Commanders, y'all, they're playing with house money. They're playing with house money. Who expected them to be here? Who actually even expected the Washington Commanders to win this game? They're playing with house money. The Washington Commanders are not going to approach the Detroit Lions game like, hey, man, we're afraid of them. They're approaching they're approaching the Detroit Lions like we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. This Dan Quinn's first year, Daniel Jones' first year. This team isn't even what it's going to be next year. Man, we got everything to win and we got everything to gain and nothing to lose. Man, if they go home next week, the Washington Commanders will not be like the Cowboys were last year losing to the Green Bay Packers. No, because everybody thinks the Detroit Lions is a better team anyway. Man, they're going to roll up. I'm telling you, they're going to roll up in Detroit. And I can see them playing with a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence. I can see them playing with a lot of confidence. And it'll get them so far. But that Detroit Lions team, I want you to remember something. The Detroit Lions, their defense is decimated. Aaron Glenn has been doing just like Mike Zimmer. He's been doing more with less. But I want you to pay attention to something with the Detroit Lions. I'm really interested in what they're going to look like. I'm really interested in what they're going to look like. And the reason is, I want you to look at what the Detroit Lions, I want you to look at what they look like in their last 6 games. That decimated defense is showing its ugly head. The Bears and the Lions. Anybody watch the Bears and the Lions? The Bears should have won that game. The Bears should have won that game. They had a dumb, fluky misuse of the clock play by, first they said it was the coach, then they said it was Caleb Williams. The coach got fired off of that play, if I'm not mistaken. They scored 20 points on the Buffalo. They scored 20 points on the Detroit Lions. The score was 23-20. We go to the next game. The Packers scored 31 points on the Detroit Lions. That defense, that decimated defense, showed its ugly head again. The Buffalo Bills scored 48 points on the Detroit Lions. That decimated defense showed its ugly head again. And do you notice what happened? Ben Johnson to the rescue. Now, this game right here, Ben Johnson wasn't to the rescue. That was just a fluky play that didn't make sense. It was almost like the Bears threw the game. Packers, Ben Johnson to the rescue, 34 points. The Bills, they scored 42 points, but the Bills scored 48. That decimated defense. The Lions, 34-17. The 49ers game. 49ers scored 34 points on them. The Vikings, This game was a lot more dominant. It was 31-9. But the verdict is still out on Sam Darnold, y'all. The verdict is still out. Everyone's waiting on Sam Darnold to turn back into a pumpkin. Sam Darnold better win tomorrow. I'm telling you, Sam Darnold better win tomorrow. If Sam Darnold don't win tomorrow, everybody's going to be saying, Sam Darnold's nothing but a backup. He done. He'll be back to backup land. Miss Matrix, what's going on with you? I'm telling y'all, Washington Commanders have nothing to lose. They lose, so what? What is everybody going to say? I can't believe the Washington Commanders got beat by the Detroit Lions. That's the very reason why you go into this game like, man, we have nothing to lose, everything to gain. That Detroit Lions defense is decimated. And I'm telling y'all something about Jaden Daniels. If you don't know him by now, you're going to know his name. Jaden Daniels is deadly. This dude is deadly on the ground, y'all. This dude is deadly on the ground. Jaden Daniels is deadly with the ball in his hands. That defense is decimated. And y'all might not remember this, but I said this when the Detroit Lions beat the brakes off of our beloved Cowboys. Y'all might not remember. Some of y'all hadn't been here the whole season. I said this. I said Dan Campbell is going to regret leaving his defense in when they were clearly so far up on the Cowboys. There was no reason to have any starters on their defense in. And Hutchinson snapped his leg. And I said it. They're going to live to regret what they did. I'm very interested to see. Excuse me. I'm going to tell y'all something. Ben Johnson's stock is about to go through the roof. Aaron Glenn stock is about to go through the roof. And Aaron Glenn in particular, let me tell y'all something. I don't care nothing about no Rooney rule. I don't care nothing about no Rooney rule. I'll be honest with you. As a black man, I don't get into all this race stuff. But I'll tell you this, as a black man, don't even call me. Don't even call me. Don't call me to meet your quotas. Don't call me. I know that may make some people mad. No, I'm different. Don't call me. Don't you dare call me unless you want me. And I'm telling y'all something. Aaron Glenn, the Cowboys ought to be interviewing Aaron Glenn. Not just for a Rooney interview. They ought to seriously be interviewing Aaron Glenn. This man has done the same thing, if not better in some instances. I don't know if I can say necessarily better. He's done the same thing as Mike Zimmer. Y'all think the Cowboys defense is decimated? Man, the Eagles defense is decimated. They look totally different than what they looked like at the beginning of the season. And Aaron Glenn has continued. But you look at these last 4 games, he's had a couple of these games to where, 31 by the Packers, 17 by the 48 by the Bills, 34 by the Lions, but he got 9. He looked very good against the Vikings. He's got a great opportunity. Let me tell you something. If these doggone Detroit Lions roll up in here and be great on offense and especially defense, man, Aaron Glenn ought to be getting interviews all over this league for a head coaching job. Dan Campbell better get ready. Dan Campbell is going to be a victim of his own success. His offensive and defensive coordinators have been really good over the last couple of years, and they're going to wind up losing both of them probably in the next year or two. But Ben Johnson, boy, Ben Johnson's stock is already up. Ben Johnson's stock is already up because in these games where teams scored points, Ben Johnson scored points. Didn't beat the Bills, but they had a great performance on Monday night against the 49ers. And so I'm telling you, man, the Commanders, what do they have to lose? Man, if I'm Dan Quinn, this is easy. This is easy work for me. This is easy work for me if I'm Dan Quinn. Because Dan Quinn, you can tell by the way Daniel Jones has been talking. You know what the Commanders believe? The moment the Commanders got this game to 2020, I said, uh-oh. I said, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Go back and look at all these Washington Commanders games. The Washington Commanders have been winning games like this all season. They have been winning games like this all season. So they're used to being in these situations. The Washington Commanders feel like if we can get a team, if we can take a team out into the deep, if we can take them into the deep part of the ocean and got this thing 17-17, 20-20, 21-20, 23-20, if we can get a team to the deep part of the ocean to where it's a 1-point game, 3-point game, 4-point game, man, the Washington Commanders believe they can win it. Why? Because they've been winning it. This is the very reason why I said if their kicker doesn't miss the extra point against the Cowboys, I just got a strange feeling we don't win that game. They've been doing this. It started with the Hail Mary in Chicago. They have been doing this. And so I'm telling you, I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you on the breaks getting beat off because I think it's a possibility. But these doggone Washington Commanders, I can tell you this, man, they're playing with house money. They're playing with house money. And they're going to be thinking that, hey, man, if we can just keep it close. If we can find a way in the fourth quarter to be close, we can do it. Let me show you something about the Washington Commanders. It says right here, Daniels Commanders continues late game magic win versus the Bucks. It says the Washington Commanders continue to prove one thing this season. They're ahead of schedule. They are. No one thought they'd be here. They also know how to win close games. Yes, Washington, which won 8 more games this season than a year ago, emerged victorious yet again with a what? Dramatic fashion. Zane Gonzalez hit a 37-yard field goal to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-20 in the Wildcard round, providing Washington with its first playoff win since 2005 postseason. Dan Quinn is coach of the year. I don't care what anyone says. Watch this. It has become a habit this season for a team that loves talking about winning moments. Dan Quinn, mentality. And Coach Dan Quinn said he focused more on late game situations. You know what it's called? Situational football. Mike McCarthy is terrible at this. He's terrible at it. He's terrible at situational football. Dan Quinn is great at situational football. I think he learned some things by getting beat by Tom Brady with the Atlanta Falcons. Dan Quinn has learned a few things. You have to learn that, hey, this is the situation. We're up by 21 points. Hey, Kyle, stop it. Run the ball. Stop playing. Run the ball. Run the doggone ball. Run the clock down. You do everything you got to do. Get some first downs. Pull out the razzle-dazzle. Whatever you got to do. But you keep our offense on the field and you keep Tom bleeping Brady on the sideline. Dan Quinn's learned a few things. I'm telling you, what we're watching with Dan Quinn right now, this don't look like that Atlanta Falcon team. This don't look like that Atlanta Falcon team. I want to see what Dan Quinn continues to develop into. But this is a year, he's a year early. I think he's actually 2 years early. 12 wins, playoff win, I think Dan Quinn's about 2 years early. It says the Commanders ended the regular season, look at this, with 5 straight wins. 3 occurred on the last play from scrimmage, and a 4th ended with Washington stopping a 2-point conversion on the final play. You don't think that the Washington Commanders are ready for the moment? They're ready for the moment. They're looking for the moments. The Washington Commanders, I'm telling y'all, the Washington Commanders, if they find themselves in a situation to where they're within 3 points, they feel like they can win. If it's going to come down to the last drive, when you've been there and have done it. And I'm telling you, if the Detroit Lions, as you say, they're going to beat the brakes off of the Washington Commanders, I'm going to tell you this. If they don't take care of business and put the Washington Commanders in a chokehold and break their spirit and get up on them some type of way by 14, 17 points, if they don't find a way to break their spirit and get up on them very fast and then take that into the second half, take that into the third quarter, and keep on scoring a touchdown or two, if they mess around and they play with the Washington Commanders, and this thing comes down to one of these very close games, get ready. It is going to be the upset of the season. It's going to be the upset of the season. It is. CP says, what's going on, CP? He said the East won a Super Bowl 3 years in a row. The original black and blue division. Better believe it. CP, I think we're on our way. Oh, okay, what's this? C-Pimp? C-Pimp, mister? I got you. I think we're back on our way. I do. Ryan said Daniels was great for a rookie. Hurts was not. All of that talent and only 130 yards passing. This is why I'm not completely sold on the Eagles as being the favorite. So, Ryan, let's see what they look like the next game. Let's keep in mind, Jalen Hurts has been out for 3 weeks. He's been out for 3 weeks. So let's see what he looks like on the next game. But I will tell you, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned, Ryan. But I got an eyebrow raised. My spidey senses are tingling because I'm like, oh, whoa, hold on a second. Jalen didn't look quite as good today. This is not going to work on the next game. Jalen Hurts, this is not going to work. I'm sorry, it's not going to work for Jalen Hurts in the next game. Jalen's going to have to play better. So I got one eyebrow raised. Right now on the Eagles. Daniel M. says, G, you're right on about the NFC East for the next several years. If the Giants get a quarterback in this draft and the Eagles and the Commies improve, this division is going to be extremely competitive. Man, this thing's going to be competitive. And Jerry's going to have to build a team. He won't be good enough. It's not going to be about Dak. If he don't put a team around Dak, they're not going to be able to compete. This is not going to be about quarterbacks. This is going to be about the teams. Because if they all have quarterbacks, now it's going to start coming down to the teams. So I'm very interested to see what kind of team are they going to put around Dak Prescott. Willie T, you're crowning Jaden Daniels already. No. I think what he's doing right now is fantastic. But I said it early on, Willie T. It's not like we haven't seen this before. We already seen this with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud did, he won the first playoff game last year. We saw this with Dak Prescott. He didn't win the first playoff game. But we have to understand, these two quarterbacks did not come up against the caliber of quarterback and team that the Green Bay Packers were when the Cowboys faced them. I mean, it's just like tonight with Baker Mayfield. I don't know how much I blame Baker Mayfield when you're on the bench getting beat. I mean, doggone it, can your defense make a stop? Can your defense make a stop and get you the ball back? They couldn't make a stop. Now, Willie T, it's not that I'm crowning Jaden Daniels. What I am saying, though, this team hasn't even got the team built yet. I mean, watch what I tell you. This team is going to look even more different next year. Dan Quinn isn't done getting players. He's not done getting players, I'm telling you. He's not. Dan Quinn is just getting started. He's got a rookie quarterback. They're going to be able to put some players around Jaden Daniels. End of story. You let this team with McLaurin, who has really emerged. This dude made some fantastic catches. Let this team mess around and get another wide receiver and a running back. Man, I'm just telling you, this team is going to be absolutely dangerous. Demetrius Adams, I'm with you. He is. Dan Quinn is a better coach than McCarthy. And I believe that Jerry was trying to wait Quinn out and crown Quinn as the coach. Willie T, he says Dan Quinn wanted the head coaching job in Dallas. When he realized he wasn't getting it, he blew the playoff game. I'm telling you, I don't think and Willie T, I don't think it was just the fact that Dan Quinn wanted it. Pay attention to how Jerry Jones was flowing. I think Jerry Jones was trying to wait out Mike McCarthy's contract, and he was going to let Dan Quinn get it. I mean, this could just be pure speculation on both our parts. But I think we're both right. Yeah, Dan Quinn wanted the Cowboys job. And I believe that Jerry Jones probably told him there was a possibility he could get that said job. Because Jerry Jones is a shrewd operator, and he does stuff like this. He does stuff like this. Suge, why do we keep forgetting that there's 52 other players on the team? Suge Midnight, what's going on? You hearing me, Suge? I hadn't forgot it. This is what my whole argument is. This is why I blew Marlon Brando out the water. No, the best quarterbacks didn't win. The best teams won. The best teams won. Because when you look at all of these games, great defensive play, great running games. I mean, you saw all kinds of things. It's not about, we got to stop. I'm telling you, this is why this team is so toxic. So toxic. The fan base is toxic. A part of this fan base is so toxic because we say so many things that don't make sense. Willie T, Packers were battling injuries. Well, I think the problem is they started battling injuries. I mean, they started battling injuries. I mean, they were falling like flies. But at the end of the day, Willie T, I'm sorry, I'm not giving Jordan Love a pass. Willie T, even with the injuries, it's even more of an indictment. Green Bay's defense played more than good enough. They played more than good enough to win. The running game was more than good enough to win. No, Jordan Love was making horrible throws. He made horrible throws. Those interceptions were horrible. Kevin Howard, let Colin Cowherd tell it Love is better than Dak. He going to eat them words. He is going to eat those words. Ryan R., yeah, he had an elbow injury. But you know what, Ryan? You don't get those excuses. You don't get those excuses. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but Dak Prescott in 2022, Dak Prescott came back early from that, the thumb injury? But that thumb actually was not right the whole season. And nobody gave Dak Prescott a break. I found it to be strange that the year that Dak Prescott broke the thumb and came back early was his highest interception year. Only to come back the following year and was right back on target. He threw less than 10 interceptions. And you know what? Some people were saying this, and I'm just going to have to, I hate to, I think some of the evidence was showing when you saw Dak Prescott in the boot, and Dak was saying, well, last time I was on the boat, my ankle swole up. And there were people on this channel saying, no, something's wrong with Dak Prescott. I mean, I can't help but now I'm thinking back on stuff they were saying and looking at how Dak was not running the ball and didn't start running the ball until the media started pressuring him. And the moment he started running the ball, pop. It makes me wonder. Willie T, stop it. They were already calling for Bo's job. They were already calling for Bo's job. Stop it. No surprise he's a black head coach. You either win or get fired. I don't get into all that stuff. And I got news for you, Willie T. Bowles don't either. Bowles will destroy your argument. I don't have to. They've already tried to approach Bowles with all this black coach stuff. Bowles don't get into that, man. And most black men in those positions, they don't get into that stuff. It's hogwash. This is a meritocracy. This is a meritocracy, man. Todd Bowles, they were already calling for his job. This isn't new. They're going to be calling for his job because this is what teams do. They call for your job. When you don't win, they call for your job. Todd Bowles knows what it is. He knows what it is. They're going to be calling for his job. I don't think it's nothing to do with no black stuff. No. It is what it is. I don't think they're going to necessarily get rid of Todd Bowles. I don't think they're going to get rid of Todd Bowles, but I do think that there will be the fan base. Because, you know, it's kind of funny, Willie T, when I hear people talking about all this blackity black stuff. Well, why are we not using this same standard with Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott is the most talked about black quarterback in the league. It needs to be studied. No one talks about any other black quarterback the way they talk about Dak Prescott. It's like you can't talk bad about other black quarterbacks. But boy, Dak Prescott, you can destroy him any way you want to. Tell me a black quarterback they talk about like Dak Prescott. Tell me. Tell me the black quarterback they talk about like Dak Prescott. Nobody does. I don't get into all this stuff. I don't think it's about Todd Bowles being black. I don't. The real fan won. It's not all on coaching. I'm talking about the team. And it's about the X's and the O's, and it's about the Jimmy and the Joes. This all goes together. G keep making everything about McCarthy. No, I'm not. No. You see, what are you talking about, Willie? Did I not keep saying? Am I saying that Mike McCarthy has to build a team, or am I saying Jerry Jones has to build a team? Which one am I saying, Willie T? Which one am I saying? Because anyone that's listening to me can verify. Jerry Jones has to build a team. Because all these other teams have teams. We have players. They have teams. But I'm not backing down. You can say what you want to say about Mike McCarthy. I'm not backing down on Mike McCarthy. Brian Broaddus knows more football than you and me both. Brian Broaddus knows. And Brian Broaddus straight up said it. The same thing. I said it before Brian Broaddus. Brian Broaddus came back and said, nobody's afraid of Mike McCarthy. No team's afraid of Mike McCarthy. Matt LaFleur looks at Mike McCarthy. He's destroyed him every time they faced each other. Brian Broaddus is saying this. No team fears Mike McCarthy. He's not a difference maker on the field. He's not a difference maker. He's not changing games in the right direction with his play calling. He's not. He's terrible at situational football. It's not conjecture. It's fact. I've already read the article of how he got fired in Green Bay. They fired him in week 13. They couldn't handle any more of his stinky, stale toast West Coast offense. He stinks as a play caller. He stinks. And if he's not calling plays which stink, he's not a motivator of men. They got rid of him. Mike McCarthy, I'm sorry, he's not good. And if we call him good, do you want a good coach or a great coach? Mike McCarthy ain't good enough. He's not. The real fan won. Patrick and Steve Spagnuolo make Andy Reid lethal. I mentioned that earlier, real fan. Not the other way around. What was he a great play caller and put plays in the best position when he was with the Eagles? He did. No, I hadn't forgot it. He did. You better believe Andy Reid did. Andy Reid went to the Super Bowl with none other than Donovan McNabb. You better believe he did. Andy Reid has always been a great play caller. And Donovan McNabb, I'm telling you, if Donovan McNabb was not all in his feelings about Terrell Owens, if anybody watch the Super Bowl between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. I got news for you, Real Fan One. The New England Patriots had no answer for Terrell Owens. This man was out there on a fractured leg. They had no answer for him. I can remember that Super Bowl like yesterday. I was astounded. And other people were saying in the media, why did Donovan McNabb, why would he not throw it to T.O.? Donovan McNabb on purpose was not throwing the ball to T.O. This is why their rivalry on the same team became so nasty. And I'm telling you, I believe if Andy Reid would have gotten Michael Vick in his prime, we would have already saw a Super Bowl. And even with Michael Vick, it was not Andy Reid's fault that they didn't go to the Super Bowl. It came down to a couple of plays. Michael Vick made some throws, and there was a dropped pass in the end zone. No, Andy Reid has always been a master play caller. Everyone has always respected Andy Reid as a master play caller. All Andy Reid needed. Andy Reid was successful with Kansas City before Patrick Mahomes. The issue is he couldn't get over the hump. He couldn't get over the hump with the quarterback play. Alex Smith, very underrated. And I think Alex Smith might have been coming into his own. He might have been coming into his own with Andy Reid. It wasn't Alex Smith's fault that they lost that previous AFC Championship game against I'm thinking it's the Indianapolis Colts is who they lost that game against. I forgot the name of the quarterback that retired early because he concerned about his head. He started getting hit too much. It wasn't his fault. But when Andy Reid got Patrick Mahomes, we have to understand something. Patrick Mahomes is a special talent. Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. Because I'm going to push back on you. Is Patrick Mahomes with the Chicago Bears? The Chicago Bears could have got him in that draft. I promise you. I don't care what anyone says. Patrick Mahomes is not winning Super Bowls in Chicago. He's not. He's not winning Super Bowls in Chicago. I can make the same argument. Would anybody dare say that John Elway wasn't a great quarterback? What happened when John Elway got Terrell Davis? What happened when he got Terrell Davis? Sometimes you just need that other player. Sometimes you need that other player. Sometimes that coach, all he needs is that one player. Because there's a coach right now in this league. He's looking for the same thing. His name is Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, I don't care what anyone says. Kyle Shanahan is a premier play caller in this league. I wish the San Francisco 49ers would let go of Kyle Shanahan. Man, you talking about a frenzy? Kyle Shanahan hit the open market. Every coach in the league, other than the teams that finish in the top 8, they all better be on notice. Kyle Shanahan hit the streets. I'm sorry. And my team hadn't made the playoffs, I'm firing him. I'm firing my coach. I'm getting Kyle Shanahan. The only thing that has stopped Kyle Shanahan from winning the Super Bowl, well, one of them has been Patrick Mahomes. And sometimes when you get two great teams, they both got great defenses. They both got running games. They both got everything the same. It finally comes down to, unfortunately at times, then it does come down to the quarterback. Sometimes it comes down to which quarterback is going to make a play or which defense is going to make a play. It really kind of comes down to both of those issues. And if you think about the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo was one deep pass away from putting the Kansas City Chiefs away. And he overthrew him. This game is a game of inches, man. It's a game of inches. A lot of times we're talking about these games and we're not even talking about things that happen in the game. We just make a blanket statement. No, Andy Reid's a master play caller. No. Daniel said, I hate Joe. I was reading an article on Ashton Jeanty, the running back out of Boise State, and I like his story. This is a guy that grew up to be a highly talented player. I think if he's there, I want him at 12. I think they're going to take him. I think if Genty is there, they're going to take him. And I'm not going to be mad about it. If he's there, take him. I'm just concerned that he's not going to be there. I mean, I'm telling you, man. But like I said, I really want to do some investigating in the Tankatron because they keep saying, man, that Tankatron has been like right on a lot of these drafts. They're saying they've been right on a lot of these drafts. And when you think about these teams that are in front of the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, the New England Patriots couldn't use Ashton Genty because I think they already have their quarterback. Jacksonville Jaguars, they can't use Ashton Genty. Las Vegas will be in for a quarterback, but the problem is when you talk about Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, is anybody else going to be trying to get quarterbacks? And I still say, if I'm one of these teams right now in the draft and I need a quarterback, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders both go off the board. I'm looking at a couple of quarterbacks in this league right now. I'm looking at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is not going to be the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings going forward unless he wins the Super Bowl. I'm looking at Sam Darnold, maybe to be a 2-year bridge quarterback, and I'm looking at one Trey Lance. Once you get past Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, you might ought to be thinking, hey, man, maybe we ought to see what this dude Trey Lance is about. Maybe we'll see what he's about. And if the Pittsburgh Steelers cut ties with Justin Fields, some team may say, hey, rather than trying to go in the draft and picking a guy after Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, let's bring Justin Fields in. Maybe we'll draft a quarterback in the 3rd round and let him compete with either Trey Lance or Justin Fields. And if Trey Lance or Justin Fields beat him out, great. We can develop this 3rd round quarterback. Maybe he'll be ready in a couple of years. So, but as it pertains to the running back, New England, Jacksonville. I mean, heck, even Carolina, they have their they have the quarterback. They're going to continue to go with Bryce Young at least another couple of years. I will be shocked if they don't get Ashton. I mean, San Francisco, I'll be shocked if they don't just say, hey, man, forget this. Christian McCaffrey is not going to be the same. Man, I'd pick up Ashton Genty. Now, according to their mock draft, this is going to be very good news for you. This is going to be very good news for you, Daniel M. Because according to Tankatron, they're saying Ashton Genty is going to be there. They're saying Ashton Genty is going to be there. Shedeur, Cam Ward, first 2 players. Travis Hunter be the 3rd. Abdul Carter. Oh, man. Let me tell you something. Man, if Abdul Carter, I would pick Abdul Carter if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, which is just a dream. Boy, I'd pick Abdul Carter over wide receiver and running back and still get me a good running back and wide receiver. Abdul Carter is going to be, he is going to change life for a team. But if you're looking at what they're saying about all these other teams, and we'll see how it turns out, man, the draft is going to be exciting. They're saying that Ashton Genty is going to fall right to the Cowboys. So, Daniel M., if the Cowboys get Ashton Genty, boy, this fan base is going to explode. Alex, stop telling the truth. I said the same thing. Dak Prescott, the Cowboys haven't done this once. They haven't done this twice. They've done this Lionel Richie 3 times a lady. 2 franchise tags. Stupid. 2 franchise tags. Stupid. Then they sign him. They wait to sign him again, but they finally sign him. Then we wait. We don't sign Dak in the MVP All-Pro season. Man, immediately. I got a video on my channel right now. And I'm telling y'all this. This team, Alex, you're dead on. this team continues to make the same mistake. We got Brandon Aubrey right now. Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker in the league. And he's getting paid 30th in the league. He is now about to make, he's going to finally have in his third season, his first $1 million season. He's only been first team All-Pro 2 years in a row. Oh, wait a minute. He's only been with the Cowboys for 2 years. His stats are astounding. 40 of 47. 30 for 30 on extra points. 150 doggone points. Longest field goal of the season is 65 yards. Could have easily made one from 68, 69 yards. Easy. It can be argued that Brandon Aubrey has literally been the best player on the Dallas Cowboys team in 2024. And if you look back at 2022, if you look back at 2023, and now, look at 2023, 2024. I don't think we win a 10th of the games we won in 2023 without Brandon Aubrey. I don't think we win a third of the games that we won in 2024 this year without Brandon Aubrey. Todd France is his agent. Same agent as Dak Prescott and many others. If I'm Todd France, Brandon Aubrey is not hitting the field again until the Dallas Cowboys give him a contract. But if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I actually wouldn't be expecting Brandon Aubrey to wait on another contract. I don't want to get him into a restricted free agent deal. No. Hey, man, you know what? Brandon Aubrey, you've been the best kicker in the league. We're going to go ahead and sign you now. We're going to make you the highest paid kicker in the league. You know why you do that? Because come next year, he won't be the highest paid kicker in the league. There'll be another kicker up for his deal. Or in 2 years, there'll be another kicker up for his deal. And Brandon Aubrey's deal that looks like a huge deal, Brandon Aubrey's deal won't be nothing. And it's not like they're going to pay Brandon Aubrey. You don't pay kickers $20 million a year. Dallas Cowboys ought to go ahead and sign Brandon Aubrey right now. And Alex, you are hitting it right on the head. It's not just Dak Prescott. They did this with CeeDee Lamb. They continue to do this over and over and over. Real Fan 1. Now, I'm going to tell you something you might not realize. Now, you got to make sure you've been with me long enough. In all due respect, now you're going to have to come to me with facts. Let's talk facts. They did a survey last week. I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago. Do you know there's only 2 teams? There's only 2 teams. I'm not sure in how many years, but I'm thinking it was somewhere maybe 20, 30. It might have been the whole Super Bowl era, but it was quite a few years. There's only 2 teams that have won the Super Bowl without a top 10 defense. Real Fan 1. I'm not even going to tell you who the 2 teams were or who the 2 teams are. I want you to tell me, because I'm behind on the comments. I'm going to work my way down to you. Real Fan 1. Let me put your comment back up on the screen. You said Mahomes and Spagnuolo make Andy Reid lethal, not the other way around. And you mentioned again about this thing with the Eagles. So I'm challenging you. Can you answer me this? There are 2 teams that have won the Super Bowl without top 10 defenses. There are 2 teams. Can you tell me who those 2 teams are? I'm going to work my way down to you. I should be down to you. I'm going to try to work my way down to you within the next 5 minutes. You tell me within the next 5 minutes, Real Fan 1, who are the 2 teams that have won Super Bowls without a top 10 defense? Tell me who it is. Real Fan One, I'm challenging you again. I see you still talking about this. Who are the two teams that have won a Super Bowl without a top 10 defense? Willie T, let's be real. The Packers came in knowing the Cowboys didn't have anything. Whose fault was that? McCarthy or Jerry? But you blame McCarthy. No. The Green Bay Packers knew, one, who Mike McCarthy is. Willie T, you don't have to concede, bro. You don't have to concede. I'm not asking you to. You cannot get around the facts. Why did they run Mike McCarthy out of Green Bay? Why did they run him out? Why did they run him out? Did they run him out because he's a good coach? You tell me. Why was Mike McCarthy fired in week 13? Why was he fired? Help me out, Willie T. I'm just speaking facts. You try to tell me how you feel, and I can appreciate you. You know, I got love for you. I just don't deal. I just can't deal with people's opinions. I can't do it. You got to tell me, why are we seeing the same thing from Mike McCarthy that we saw in Green Bay, and the same reason he got fired in Green Bay? You got to explain this to me. I just don't go by people's opinions. I mean, you got to help me out, Willie T. If you can convince me, I'll say, okay, you're right about that. But we're seeing the same thing. Oh, hold on a second. See, you telling me, because you're telling me I'm being hard on Mike McCarthy. No, I'm going to just give you the facts. You can take it any kind of way you want to on this. These are the facts. McCarthy departs Green Bay after posting a 125, 77-2 mark in those 13 seasons, including a 15-1 record, a 15-1 record year after he led the 6-seeded Packers on an unlikely playoff run that culminated in the team's victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl. I don't know what that is. I'm rusty on my Roman numerals. He went 18-10 in the postseason with the Packers. A mark that could have been at least one win better had it not been for Brandon Bostic's fumbling of an onside kick in Seattle in the NFC title game in 2015. Okay, I remember that. Prior to this game, Green Bay, he served as offense coordinator for the New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers. Watch this. The move wasn't a surprise. Hold on a second. What do you mean the move wasn't a surprise? I thought you said he was 125, 77-2. In 13 seasons. Oh, but you're telling me also he only got one Super Bowl win with with Aaron Rodgers. But hold on, it's not even that. It says the move. Willie T, why wasn't the move a surprise? They fired Mike McCarthy. Why wasn't the move a surprise? Why wasn't it a surprise? Help me out. I'm talking facts. I mean, I hear what you're telling me. Because you think I'm being hard on Mike McCarthy. No, I'm just a person that don't deal in emotions a lot. I deal in facts. And if you take this paragraph, somebody dispute me on this and tell me I'm wrong. You can take this paragraph. You can erase the Packers. You can erase Aaron Rodgers. You can erase Devontae Adams. And you could literally put the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb, you could put them in those same blanks. And this reads exactly the same. Jerry didn't want to do this part. The move wasn't a surprise. The timing was. How many people were calling for Mike McCarthy's job midseason? How many people? How many people were calling for Mike McCarthy's job midseason? It's strange to me because some of these same people who were calling for Mike McCarthy's job, all of a sudden he won a few games and so far, he went 4-4 with Cooper Rush. And all of a sudden everybody started saying again, oh, you know what, maybe he ain't that bad, okay? It's amazing how people turn just on a few wins. But this article says, in case y'all have not read ahead of me, McCarthy's grip on the offense had become a detrimental one. Doesn't sound the same? This doesn't sound the same. Even Bobby Belt talked about this. Mike McCarthy went back to the stale as toast West Coast offense. That's what he went back to. Mike McCarthy's grip on the offense is actually detrimental to this team. If not for performances by Mike Zimmer's defense, this team doesn't even win 4 games with Cooper Rush. If it's not for a special play by one Cavante Turpin against the Washington Commanders, they do not beat the Washington Commanders. Cowboys were not winning on Mike McCarthy's play calling. They were not. They were winning in spite of his play calling. They were winning because Mike Zimmer found ways to turn that defense up and hold teams as long as he could. Look at the average points by Mike McCarthy, especially this season. Just look at them. Mike McCarthy declined after the first week against the Cleveland Browns. He never looked good. Mike McCarthy's teams this offense has not looked good since the Cleveland Browns game. It hasn't. It's had its moments. It's had its moments, but it has not looked dominant like it did last year. And we can attribute this to quite a few things. But I'm not giving Mike McCarthy a pass. Because the same things that was happening to him with the Green Bay Packers, he didn't want to run the ball. And I already proved yesterday, it's mythology that he didn't have running backs. You better believe he had running backs. He didn't run them. He doesn't like to run the ball. I'm sorry, Mike McCarthy is just not a great coach. He's not. You can call him a good coach if you want to. He's not a great coach. He's not a difference-making coach. Brian Broaddus has said as much. He's not a difference-making coach. He's not. And I hope the Cowboys let him walk. Let him walk. Call his bluff. Let him go to the Jets. Watch where that get him. Let him go to the Bears. Watch where that get him. Let McCarthy go anywhere he wants to go. I promise you, he won't be successful. I mean, if you call success what he did in Green Bay, regular season wins, man, come on, man. You give a coach 13 years, surely he better pull one out of the hat. He better pull one of those. He better pull a Super Bowl out of the hat at least one of those years. He better. You're not getting 13 years in this league no more, man. You're not. You're not getting 13 years in this league unless you're winning, unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they have a tradition. They don't fire their coaches. That's why Mike Tomlin is still with them, Willie T. They don't fire coaches. The Pittsburgh Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, they've only had 3 coaches, and they pride themselves on that. They've only had 3 coaches in 30-something years? And Willie T, I'm going to push back on your whole blackety-black argument. Why isn't Mike Tomlin fired? Tell me his last Super Bowl. Why isn't Mike Tomlin gone for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Why? How many times has Mike Tomlin failed in the playoffs? Tell me, Willie T. I got love for you. I don't believe in this blackety-black stuff. Why does it stop with Mike Tomlin? It's amazing how we change the story when it comes to something that bucks the whole story. Mike Tomlin, tell me the last time he won. Tell me. Tell me the last time he won a Super Bowl. How many playoffs has he won since one Ben Roethlisberger? Tell me how many he's won. We can say about Mike Tomlin, he hasn't had a losing season. But has he had successful Super Bowl seasons? Other than the one? He black. Still got his job. I'm not hearing nobody talking about Mike Tomlin's job. We be talking about this blackity black stuff sometimes, and really the reality is it's not really boiling down to blackity black stuff. It's sometimes boiling down to the region that you're in and the expectations you have. See, a lot of folks don't realize, the way we talk about Dak Prescott, there are people who talk about Jalen Hurts like that in Philadelphia. Is it because he's black? What's the reason? We try to act like everybody looks, or the majority of people look at this stuff by race. No, they don't. There are some people that do, and you're never going to be able to stop that. You're not. Some people are going to be racist. It don't matter what country you put them in, no matter what era, no matter what time, and no matter who you put them around. But a lot of us who understand what's going on, man, this is bigger than a lot of the things we be making it about. But I digress. The reason why Mike Tomlin is still with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't believe in firing their coaches. They believe in allowing them to keep coaching. Can we build a team around them? Coach them. And Mike Tomlin's going to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I don't know about Todd Bowles. I'm not calling for Todd Bowles' job. I said they're going to be calling for Todd Bowles' job. I have no vested interest in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do kind of I like Todd Bowles. I don't want to say I don't have a vested interest, but I like Todd Bowles. I also like Baker Mayfield. I like Baker Mayfield. Man, Baker Mayfield is a success story. I love it. And like Mike Adams, I like some of the things they have on the team, but I don't really have any vested interest in it like that. But I digress. Mike McCarthy. He became detrimental one as the once explosive Dallas Cowboys turned into a largely inept offense. Would anybody not say that's not true of us today? Inept. We were inept this year. And even when the offensive line started playing better, even when the defense got healthy, even when the defense started playing better, go back and look at those games. Everybody was bragging on Cooper Rush about the Cincinnati Bengals game. It was trash. The second half was trash. He only had 59 yards. That offense collapsed in the second half. No, not that game. It was it's the Buccaneers game. He collapsed in the second half. The defense had to pull it out with some of the most amazing plays you'll ever see by defense. Cincinnati Bengals game, they collapsed midway through the fourth quarter. They collapsed. Rico Dowdle, Cincinnati Bengals, no answer for Rico Dowdle. What does Mike McCarthy do? Run the ball 7 straight times? He only runs the ball 7 straight times when they have no answer for Rico Dowdle. This is Mike McCarthy. He was doing it in Green Bay. And a lot of people don't understand Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers thought himself that Mike McCarthy's play calling was poo-poo. Look at what this article says. Save for when Aaron Rodgers was left to improvise by playing sandlot ball. His play calling became poo-poo. Aaron Rodgers was drawing up plays in the sand, basically. That's why they're saying this. The last play against the Dallas Cowboys by Aaron Rodgers, when they beat Dak Prescott, Zeke, and this team in that playoff game, they were bragging about it. I can remember the press conference. Hey, yeah, man, Mike McCarthy called in the play, and Aaron Rodgers said he didn't like it. He said, man, Aaron just drew up a play right. He just drew up a play right there. And that play won the game. It even happened in McCarthy's final game Sunday when Rodgers dropped, surveyed, and pointed to a spot in the end zone as a destination for his receiver. He completed a touchdown pass to Devontae Adams. People are not giving Dak Prescott credit. Have y'all not noticed something about Kellen Moore? I mean, for all of us Dallas Cowboy fans, have we not noticed something about Kellen Moore? He hasn't looked the same without Dak Prescott. Kellen Moore hasn't looked the same without Dak Prescott. He was with Justin Herbert. Colin Cowherd said, oh man, Kellen Moore is now with Justin Herbert, the chosen one, the golden child, who I want to be the face of the league. Justin Herbert with Kellen Moore is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Nope, fired him. They only went on to fire him. Kellen Moore is now with Jalen Hurts. Why is he not putting up video game numbers with Jalen Hurts? Because there's some people that tell you Jalen Hurts is better than Dak Prescott. Why is Kellen Moore not putting up video game numbers? Jason Garrett won almost the same amount of games as Mike McCarthy. The same amount of playoff games. Guess with who? Dak Prescott. And we are not giving Dak Prescott enough credit. It's funny how we'll talk about Mike McCarthy. Hey, man, why do we want to get rid of Mike McCarthy? He has 3 12-win seasons in a row. Oh, wait, let's change the argument when it comes to Dak Prescott. Hey, man, Dak Prescott may have 12 3-win seasons. He may have 3 12-win seasons in a row, but of those 12 games, the teams were all bad. Which one is it? Can we have it both ways? Oh, when Mike McCarthy got 3 12-win seasons, he should remain the coach. But when Dak Prescott have 3 12-win seasons, it's against bad teams. And Dak Prescott didn't beat the Green Bay Packers. Oh, Mike McCarthy didn't even coach the game. We talk out of both sides of our mouth. I'm being very consistent on Mike McCarthy. I'm not convinced because this is reading just like Mike McCarthy today. Much like the majority of this season, with an example of an offense not utilizing weapons because it was too clogged to get going. Again, Willie T, I'm talking facts. You can tell me anything you want to about Mike McCarthy. Y'all tell me. What Hunter Lipke's stats look like? Y'all tell me. What does Hunter Lipke's stat line look like? Who on this chat will tell me that Hunter Lipke should not be an offensive weapon for the Cowboys? Who's going to tell me? Who's going to tell me that Hunter Lipke should not be getting used more by the Dallas Cowboys? Tell me. Who is that person? Who on this chat is going to tell me that Mike McCarthy should have been using one Kevontae Turpin from the beginning of the season, and that Kevontae Turpin should be a way more effective wide receiver? Somebody tell me. Tell me. Why can't Mike McCarthy figure out a way to get Kevontae Turpin more involved? Why? Tell me. Tell me that he was involved. Tell me. Somebody tell me. See, I've already studied this stuff. I'm getting ready to do a major story. I'm getting ready to do a major story on one Kevontae Turpin. And he is also an indictment on Mike McCarthy. He's an indictment. Explain this to me, Willie T. Explain this to me. Explain to me, how does this article read exactly the same? You know who this is right here? It's Kevontae Turpin. How do you be the fastest man in the NFL? You only got 31 receptions. You have 31 receptions. You're the fastest man in the league. And you can only muster 420 yards out of Kevontae Turpin? Make it make sense. You can only get 2 touchdowns out of the fastest man in the league, Willie T. Make it make sense. Put Kevontae Turpin with the Kansas City Chiefs. Watch him go to work. Put him with Josh Allen. Watch him go to work. Put him with an offensive coordinator that says, hey, man, this dude is the fastest dude in the league. Let's use him. Watch him go to work. Mike McCarthy don't know how to use weapons. He don't. He don't, because if he does, then now you got to explain to me, why is Kevontae Turpin? Kevontae Turpin should have at least been a 60 reception, 800 plus yard receiver with at least 8 to 9 touchdowns. He's too fast and he's too good not to be. How many games did we ask? Why are they not using Kevontae Turpin? How many games did we ask that? How many? Maybe you were not asking, but there were a lot of people that were saying, why will they not get Kevontae Turpin more involved? Hunter Lipke. Explain this to me, Willie T. Explain this to me. How does Hunter Lipke, maybe I'm crazy, how does Hunter Lipke have 12 carries, 38 yards? How? 0 touchdowns. How? Explain it to me. How is this possible? How is it possible? Look at his receiving. How is it possible, man? You got to explain to me. How is this article from all these years ago? How is this article describing Mike McCarthy, and it sounds like they're describing him today? Explain it to me. Hunter Lipke, 12 receptions, 111 yards, 9.3 yards average, longest 24. So you're telling me you couldn't figure out a way to use Hunter Lipke, who is literally a running back, fullback, tight end hybrid. He is a mismatch nightmare for a linebacker. He's a mismatch linebacker for a safety. And you're telling me we only got one wide receiver, one legitimate threat wide receiver that Mike McCarthy couldn't say, hold on a second, we do got Hunter Lipke and Kevontae Turpin. So you're telling me he couldn't use them? Y'all can tell me anything you want to. This ain't about being hard. I'm just speaking facts. You don't have to take them, but you can't argue them. You can't argue them. Now, let me get back to Real Fan 1. Let me go down here some more. I'm waiting on Real Fan 1. He might be, I don't know, it is kind of late. He might have a job in the morning. I can understand that. But I'm hoping that Real Fan 1 is going to be able to answer me. Let me go ahead and get down here to the bottom. Richard Owens, complete teams, wins games, not just the quarterback. Richard, I keep saying that. They won't listen. They won't listen. YDMF. Wait a minute. I got a feeling of what YDMFS stands for. He says to y'all people on here that don't like that, get over it. He's the Cowboys quarterback. Amen. Dorrance Armstrong was balling tonight. Jerry ought to be sick right now. Mike Lewis, as long as Jerry Jones making money off the Cowboys, I don't think he cares. Richard said Jerry is not sick because he has money. Richard Owens. Somebody said, Jerry Jones, how you sleep? On a bed full of money? It's easy to sleep on a bed full of money, man. It is. It is. He said, Dak got his money, get over it. Root for the team. Who y'all think have a better quarterback? Woo, man, I appreciate you tonight. I'm telling you. Real Fan 1, you might be gone, but I'm gonna go ahead and knock this down. And I'm gonna show you something that they came up with that I was blown away. I was floored when they brought this stat up. Richard Owens said, if you understand Jerry's way of thinking, the Super Bowl is a toy at the fair. Why overpay for what you've already had? Yes, sir. Mike Lewis. And if he keeps Mike McCarthy, it's proving your point, Mike. He wants a yes man. My uncle told me a few weeks ago, he said it's hard to find a yes man. It is. It's hard to find a yes man. Let me go a little bit further down here. wait a minute. Richard said, Tampa Bay had a chance, but they didn't take advantage of their opportunities so Washington capitalized on Tampa mistakes. They did. And this is why, you think about Baker Mayfield. I don't think Baker Mayfield choked. You want a defense. You want a defense that if it's 20-20, do we not realize how far the Commanders drove in that last drive? You just couldn't stop them. The defense couldn't stop them. They couldn't get Baker Mayfield another opportunity. They couldn't. And so it is what it is. It is what it is. Willie T, you probably talking about my thing about the Rooney Rule. Yeah, I'm not interviewing with nobody. I am not interviewing with anybody just because I'm black. Not me. I don't operate like that. Gee, you're talking about luck with the Commanders to win. No, I'm not talking about luck. You got to think about something. Shannon Sharp said something, Willie T. I don't know if you heard it. But Shannon Sharp says that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I like that. I like that. Sometimes you may get lucky, but you can't capitalize on the luck, is what he's saying, unless you're prepared. If you're not prepared, you're not going to capitalize on the luck. You get lucky sometimes because there is someone who is prepared and they're waiting on that bouncing ball. They're trying to get that strip sack fumble. Something happens to where now all of their preparation, all of their working out, all of their practicing on running, all of whatever drill they've been running, they get the opportunity. And someone says it was luck, but they also had preparation. Yeah, Big C from the 10 key, from Tennessee, the NFC East is turning back into the NFC Beast. Oh, yeah, it is. Gee, don't delete this video because you're going to eat the words about the Commanders. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win. But Willie T, they're playing with house money. They're playing with house money. If they can keep this game close, they can win it. I'm not going to be surprised if the Detroit Lions do beat the brakes off of them. I've already said that. I'm not going to be surprised if Detroit beats the brakes off of them because they have a very potent offense, but their defense. Now, we'll see what Aaron Glenn does. He did really good against the Vikings. I want to see what he looks like. Wilson Santiago. Hold on, let me complete the thought. I do want to see what he looks like against the Washington Commanders. He looked real good against the Vikings. Wilson Santiago, yeah, we talked about it, man. We're going to talk about it some more next week. Boy, that schedule is brutal, man. That schedule is brutal. Saints trying to get Joe Brady for head coach along with other teams. Trying to get Joe Brady, okay. Gee, the first Commanders game with the Cowboys was close, but if you saying if the kicker doesn't miss the extra point, they would have won. Well, if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. But the only reason why I'm saying that, Willie T, is what I read you in the article. They've won, 5 games like this. I mean, they keep winning games like this. Yeah, Cooper Rush. Yeah, Cooper Rush beat the Bucs in the first half, but the way they won that game, Jay Recruiter, was these amazing plays. The one by Jordan Lewis and then the one by Deron Bland. I mean, it took some great defensive plays. Go back and look at the stats on that game. Cooper Rush did absolutely nothing in the second half. Nothing. Real fan one, he probably got off. I'll talk about this tomorrow when I get back on. Richard said, don't think that Quinn is a better coach, but where he is now, he's allowed to make decisions that influence his players that want to win. Now, Richard, let me tell you why I think he's a better coach. Because he builds better culture. That's a part of the team. Dan Quinn builds a better culture and a better mentality. He's not an X's and O's guy. He's not an offensive guy. He's not an offensive coordinator. He's a better coach. He's a better coach. That's why I say he's better than Mike McCarthy. It's not about play calling because he don't play call. He's a better coach. The mentality that he's built into the team. I take him every day of the week over him. Jay with his one FR, he said Trey Lance should start all preseason, and if that gets hurt, Jay with this one for real. I think that's maybe what that mean. Hey, get ready. I don't know if Lance is going to be here. I'm telling us if we're not realizing something, Trey Lance is only, if I'm not mistaken, this dude is only 24 years old. And if I had the choice after Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, and I might even consider even before Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, why would I want any quarterback after the first two picks of those quarterbacks? Why would I want any quarterback to come in? He's going to be a rookie. He's not going to know how to be a pro. He's not going to understand pro defenses. He's not going to understand pro play concepts. He's not going to have any kind of experience being a pro. Why would I not think about, hey, man, let's see what Trey Lance has. What quarterback are you going to bring in this year? What quarterback will be brought in this year that you're going to say is a rookie other than Shedeur and Cam Ward, hey, we're going to let you throw the ball all over the field? You know the best thing you can have as a rookie quarterback is a dual threat quarterback, because you can manufacture a lot of yards. You can manufacture touchdowns with a quarterback that can use his legs. Anybody want to know what C.J. Stroud, what Jaden Daniels, what Dak Prescott all have in common in their rookie seasons? Did anybody notice? They all got paired up with a running back. And Jaden Daniels, I don't think he really has a potent running back. I think that's coming next year for him. But Jaden Daniels is very skillful with his legs nevertheless. Have we noticed? They all ran the ball. Jaden Daniels is a runner of the ball. He is. He's a dual threat quarterback. C.J. Stroud in that first season, he used his legs a lot. I was actually shocked at how much C.J. Stroud ran in his rookie season. They all ran the ball. That helps your team. So why not? Why not if you're the Raiders? Why not bring in Trey Lance? Man, you can bring in Trey Lance and you still have your draft picks. Most teams ought to be thinking about this. You can get Trey Lance and still have your draft picks. And you may wind up with a better quarterback. With a better quarterback than any of these quarterbacks. Now, let me get to the bottom. Let me answer the question that I asked Real Fan 1. Oh, there he is. Real Fan 1. I'm about to blow your mind. Because when I heard the answer to this, I was blown away. There's only two teams that have won the Super Bowl without a top 10 defense. Now, let me answer your question about also at the same time Andy Reid. Both of those teams were the Kansas City Chiefs and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're the only two teams to do it. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they won 2 Super Bowls. No, I think they got to 2. Either way, they won the Super Bowl without a top 10 defense. So we sure that Spagnuolo is making Andy Reid lethal? No, I think it's the other way around. I don't know if it's the other way around. Andy Reid has stood on his own before they gave Steve Spagnuolo the defense. Before they gave him the defense. Andy Reid won the Super Bowl without a top 10 defense. It's unheard of. Most teams, the majority of all the teams that have won the Super Bowl, they've all had top 10 defenses, except for 2. Kansas City. You can't make this up. We give Patrick Mahomes so much credit. He's a generational talent, not knocking nothing from him. But make no mistake about it. A lot of folk didn't even know who Patrick Mahomes was before he came to the pros. A lot of folk didn't talk about Patrick Mahomes. You know why? Because Patrick Mahomes wasn't Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. He wasn't Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. He wasn't winning national titles. He wasn't in the running for national titles. I mean, I would watch him play, and I was like, man, this dude is throwing the ball all over the place. I mean, you already knew the arm talent was there, but nobody was, hey, man, this dude is the number one pick in the draft. No, actually he's not. Andy Reid was shocked that he was still on the board. And that's why Andy Reid, when he figured out he was still on the board, he got in there and got him. Because Andy Reid, man, scientist says, this is all I need. All I need is a quarterback like this who can bring my scheme to absolute life. That's what he did. There's only 2 teams that have done it. And Wilson, don't quote me on this part. I'm not sure how many years they went back, but they went back quite a few. And they said it was Patrick Mahomes. It was Patrick Mahomes. All right. Late night with the Cowboys, man. We've been on this thing 3 hours. We're going to do it again tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting game tomorrow. I'm either going to do a pregame or a postgame show. Either way, I'll be back on tomorrow. Man, I'm pretty excited about this next game. I want to see, y'all tell me what you think. I think the NFL needs to stop having these Monday night games in the playoffs. This happened to the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm thinking it's the season. The Dallas Cowboys played a Monday night game, I'm thinking, and then turned around and played a Saturday game, turned around and played a Sunday game or something like that. And everybody was saying they were concerned about the Cowboys. They might have played a Sunday game and turned around and played Saturday. I don't know. I just think they need to figure out a better way to do this. Because you're putting some of these teams on somewhat of a short week where they're missing an actual day to practice and rest their body. And so you're going to put this, I'm just wondering what the schedule is going to look like. How are they going to fix this with the Minnesota Vikings? Daniel Lim. These mock drafts of the Cowboys have us trading down to get Banks from Texas, Harmon from Oregon. I told you before, I would think about trading down. But I'm going to tell you this, Daniel Lim. I don't think Jerry's going to be able to resist. And I don't blame him. If you can't get McMillan, you can't get Abdul Carter. If Ashton Jeanty is on the board and you're at 12, if you haven't done your research to say, well, I can get Hampton from North Carolina, or have another plan to get one of those guys from Ohio State. But if Jeanty is there, you got to get him. You just have to get him. There's just really no choice. You have to get him. You have to get him, Daniel Lim. You have to get Jeanty. You do. You don't have to, but I think you do. I think you have to. Jared, people do not understand that Patrick Mahomes was not Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech. See, Andy Reid helped him a lot. Helped him mature. Andy Reid took that raw diamond and cut that thing into a perfect diamond almost. So, but hey, guys, that's going to do it for me. Man, I appreciate all of you guys. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to continue to cover the playoffs. They're going to just keep hitting us with football, man. I appreciate it. I'm torn and destroyed that the Cowboys are not in it, because looking at these playoffs today, I feel like that if the Cowboys could have stayed healthy, even with the young team they had, looking at what I saw today, I'm like, man, the Cowboys probably could have competed. The Cowboys probably could have still competed. Daniel said, I hope you're right, G. Genty would change the run game for the Cowboys. We have to build the O-line for him to run through. Yeah, I think that if Genty is there, man, I'm telling you, I just don't think Jerry's going to be able to resist it. He's going to get Genty if he's there. The cutting down of Andy Reid is agenda-based. Man, you know what? I'm kind of with you on that, man. Now, Andy Reid's been a master play caller. He's been a master play caller. He just didn't have a quarterback like with the raw talent of one Patrick Mahomes, of who Andy Reid, looking at Patrick Mahomes in college, man, we got to give Andy Reid a lot of credit. Boy, he helped turn Patrick Mahomes, man. He was able to take that raw talent and use it, man, to his advantage. Wilson said, Daniel, if Mike McCarthy's still here and they do somehow get Genty, woo! Say it, Wilson Santiago. If I'm Jerry Jones, man, I'm just telling y'all, man, I'm just keeping it 100 with you. If you want to run the ball, Mike McCarthy is not your man. He's not your man. I don't want a coach that runs the ball reluctantly. I want a coach that believes. I want a coach that believes in the run. I want a coach that understands that the run. Look at all these other teams and what they're doing. The top teams in the playoffs right now, they all got run games. I want a coach that believes in the run, not a coach that I have to make run. I don't want a coach I have to threaten his job. I'm going to take play calling away from you if you don't run. Nah, I don't want that. I want a coach that'll run that doggone rock, man. Jason Garrett was a coach that wanted to run that rock. I want a coach that want to run that rock and want to build a team like that. Build that offensive line. Build that defensive line. Get you a home run hitting running back. I think still in this draft, because Rico Dowdle is going to go and get paid, I think. And if Rico Dowdle don't get paid, I'd bring Rico Dowdle back. The Cowboys need 2 backs. And if Rico Dowdle leave, I want them to get 2 backs. I'd actually like for him to get a veteran back. I would love to bring in an Aaron Jones if he's available. I'd love to bring in one of these really good backs, one of these really good veteran backs. Bring them on in. Bring them in, and then we're going to go in this draft. We'll get Ashton Genty, and we're going to be a 2-headed monster in the backfield. I want Dak Prescott to go down to throwing the ball 25 times. It's a great formula for winning. It is. Man, Wilson Santiago, don't speak that into this atmosphere. Don't do it. Gee, Mike McCarthy saga is getting dragged out. I mean, they're waiting until Tuesday to announce the country. And you know what? Think about this, though, Daniel Lim. It's their right. I have no problem with it. I believe Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy, they both have some issues with each other. They need to make sure they want to continue forward. Take to Tuesday. I don't want it tomorrow. Take to Tuesday. The Cowboys need to think about that if we bring Mike McCarthy back, we got to understand who he is. And in order to bring him back, you have to take some of the power out of his hand, because you're going to have to make him run a certain type of offense. Mason Graham. That name sounds familiar. Oh, man. You know what? Let me tell you something. The Cowboys are in love with Michigan lately. I don't know what's going on with that. I think that some of these players the Cowboys already have on their team, I think they could supplement this team and not even have to worry about the early rounds of the draft for O-line and D-line. I think they could get some of these players in the later rounds. The offensive line is kind of already coming together. So just supplement it in the later rounds, 5th on up. Keep your eye out in free agency. There are always a good lineman or two on either side of that ball. Man, the Cowboys going to have to play in free agency. It's just there's no other way to do it. Jared Thomas, this is one of the things I hate, man. I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you too, Wilson Santiago, but I tell you this, a lot of these teams, you watch what I tell you, Wilson Santiago, a lot of teams are about to go in this draft. They're looking at the formula. The running game is back. The running game is officially back in the NFL. It is. Every team is now going to say, we need a run game. That's how we help our quarterback. Let's get a run game. They're all going to say it. If Mike McCarthy comes back, he needs to give up play calling duties and hire a real OC instead of hiring his friends. Man, Daniel M. I said the same thing about Doug Peterson. Matter of fact, I think I got a video I didn't release on Doug Peterson. I think I'm going to release it tonight. I think the Cowboys ought to be thinking about Doug Peterson. I would think about Doug Peterson as the coach. He's a great play caller. He's a great play caller. I just think Trevor Lawrence and my sons, I had to concede. Man, I thought Trevor Lawrence was going to be a generational talent. He hasn't showed it yet. Graham is the best interior lineman in the draft, yet letting the Michigan thing discourage you. Dude is a baller. Hey, playmaker. They may get him. It doesn't discourage me, playmaker. I just want the Cowboys to go and get a skill player in the first or the second round. If you tell me that they're going to go and get Mason Graham in the first round, please promise me you're going to get a running back in the second round, or get a wide receiver in the second round. If you want to get Mason Graham, please get a running back in the second and a wide receiver in the third. Please. Jerry needs to send a message to whoever's going to be the coach here. Hey, man, we're going to run the ball. There's a reason why we're drafting a running back high in the draft. We're going to run the ball. But all right, guys, it's 1:31. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about this game between the Rams and the Vikings. It's going to be good. And then we're on to the divisional round. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.